of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. This meeting is being live streamed by Chelmsford Telemedia and posted to the CPS website for interested community members to access and watch. In-person public participation will be taking place tonight in accordance with the Chelmsford School Committee Public Participation Policy. Anyone speaking tonight during the public input portion of this meeting is notified the superintendent's office of the desire to speak and provided with these guidelines. Upon request, written comments received no later than 12 p.m. on the day of this meeting will also be read and made part of the record of the meeting during the second public comment session. So welcome to this meeting of the Chelmsford School Committee. Our first order of business to approve the minutes from our meeting on February 3rd.
I move that we approve the minutes of the regular school committee meeting of February 3rd, 2026.
Second.
Okay. Any corrections on the minutes? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, 4-0. Great. Our CHS representatives have a snow day today, so they're not here.
Yep.
Do we have any other good news we'd like to share at this point?
So my good news is actually here in the audience, and I'm hoping that our extra good news is that we'll be in session tomorrow for school. So I'm very excited about the kids coming back where they need to be.
All right, anybody else have anything they want to share? Okay, anybody here for public comment? All right, if not, let's move right into new business.
Thank you. The first thing we have on the agenda this evening, and you're going to see this on the next couple of school committee agendas, is just an open comment period for the Parker Middle School building project related to grade level options. So over the last number of months and, up to a year or so for people who have been following, we've been talking about the new Parker Middle School building project and taking a look at different locations where the school could potentially go. There were three that we were vetting. One was right on the Parker site. A second was up on Graniteville where the softball and baseball fields are. And then a third option was over at McCarthy Middle School in the back left corner of the property. Since that time, we've actually kind of ruled out the McCarthy and the Graniteville site. So the only site that we're actually focusing on now is the Parker site itself. So we made that decision not too long ago, but we still are looking at the three different grade level configurations. The first being a 1-for-1 replacement of Parker as a 2-grade level 5-6 school. A second option, which incorporates fourth grade and brings fourth grade up to the new school. So it would be a 3-grade level building, 4, 5, 6. And then a third option would be to build kind of a mega middle school, combining Parker and McCarthy together to be 4 grade levels, 5, 6, 7, 8 on that property. And all of the different options, the three options have pros and cons. And one of the things that we've been working with in the school building committee, and then even internally with some of our work with Left Field, our OPM and AI3, who's our architect, are refining different models and how it could actually get laid out on the site. So we've had several public forums. We're going to have another public forum coming up in March. But both on all of our meetings kind of going forward, we want to just have a standing item where if anyone from the public would like to come forward and kind of give us any input about the 3 grade level configurations that we're still considering, they can feel comfortable, they can feel free to do so. So you're going to see that agenda item be a standing item between now through the springtime. No one had registered to speak on that particular item, but you're going to see that now. You're going to have more opportunity in the future. So that's just going to be a standing item, but that's why that's on the agenda.
Yep. And just for the committee, at the end of April, we are going to take a formal vote on which of the grade configurations we would prefer. So we'll talk about that, over the course of the next couple weeks. And then we'll take a formal vote, and formally, the ed program, we have to get the final review of that. So those are things that we'll have to do as well, so.
Do you know the date, right, top of your head of the March forum?
19th.
It's the 19th.
The 19th, okay.
It's a Thursday at the Elks, 7 o'clock.
Yep, very similar to the other ones we had done. It's the 19th. We're going to have separate literature going out about that now that we're back in school this week. It'll also be in all the different school newsletters, completely open to the public, residents, people who have affiliations with the school, not affiliations with the school. Anyone is welcome to come. That'll be a good opportunity to get these updates. And then as Dennis indicated, in April, we're going to be voting on the finalized ed program and also on the grade level configuration that we want, because our next big milestone with the MSBA submission is in May. So we need to be kind of gearing up for that.
Any other questions on the building grade configurations?
That's,
Right, we'll be hearing from
We're
lot.
going to be here talking about this quite a bit.
Yep.
You're going to be sick about talking about it when we're done.
No, we won't be sick.
Second item, I'm going to ask Linda to just actually, she mentioned under good news recognition for our tea program. So I'm going to ask Linda to introduce them.
Yes, so very excited. I know that each year, I actually just talked about it last month too, that when the fellows were here. So these are our Teaching Excellence and Achievement Fulbright Fellows that are part of the UMass relationship that we have that are bringing the best and the brightest from their countries. So in Chelmsford, we have several of them in our Chelmsford Public Schools at our high school. And then what you're seeing here tonight is all the fellows that are in all the area Merrimack Valley schools. This has been a program that I've been part of for years when it first started with Dr. Angelo and Dr. Bayronavon, who's here tonight as the liaison. So he has been working with the fellows, running workshops. So it's just been a great way for us to be able to share what we know and then students to also hear and get information and learning from our fellows. So we're so excited to have you here tonight. A few of them are going to be here tonight to actually share some of their experiences. We have two of their cooperating teachers with them here tonight. We have Madame Gabois and we have Ms. Ferranetti, who have come with their people tonight to just also share in the excitement. So I'm going to actually turn it over to Dr. Bayronavon, a familiar face for the Chelmsford Public Schools. Can't get rid of him, keeps coming back like a bad penny, but you know, here he is. So Dr. Bayronavon, thank you so much.
Yes, thank you so much, Dr. Hirsch, Dr. Lang, members of the school committee. A real pleasure to be back here within the Chelmsford Public Schools in this capacity representing UMass Lowell in that Fulbright Tea program. This is a program that has been running for 8 years, and Chelmsford has consistently been one of our biggest and best supporters. Of our 20 fellows that are here as part of the program this year, 6 of them have been assigned to teachers within the Chelmsford Public Schools, more than any other school district in the area. So we really value this relationship that has been built with the Chelmsford schools, as it had always been a very strong partner. This could not have been done without the volunteering of the partner teachers, all of which are from Chelmsford High School. We have a greater number of science teachers this year than we've ever had before. And luckily, through the leadership of John Morris, the science coordinator, Steve Murray, principal, and John McIsaac, the dean, we were able to find additional partner teachers to support all of our fellows. As Dr. Hirsch mentioned, Madame Gadbois, Ms. Ferranetti are 2 of the world language teachers. We had 3 science teachers who are partner teachers, Linda Tanini, Michelle Kender, and Brian Atchison. And then we also had Peter Zopes from the social sciences. And they continue to be great partners in the program. All of the teachers who are part of this program here, as Dr. Hirsch mentioned, are the best and the brightest from their countries. They come here partly to learn from what we do within the schools in Massachusetts and the Chelmsford Public School, but also it's an opportunity for us to be able to learn from them. It is a really nice partnership where it is something that all of the teachers and members of the UMass Lowell community have been able to learn their educational techniques, things that they can bring to help us as well. So it has been a really strong partnership. And as I mentioned, we have 6 of our fellows here tonight who have been assigned and been part of the program within the Chelmsford Public Schools. And we're going to invite each of them up to share a brief summary of their experience being within the schools and their partner teachers. And then after, we'll be open for any sort of questions that the committee has. And then, as Dr. Lang had suggested, we'll do a group picture with the entire group and the committee as well at the end of it. So first, I'd like to invite up Banke. If you want to take this seat over here with the microphone.
Okay.
Good evening, distinguished committee members. My name is Oluwabanke Adewusi, and I am from Nigeria. I am a STEAM educator and a science researcher, specifying in breast cancer research. My experience in the U.S. school, Chelmsford High, attached to Mr. Zopes, a distinguished gentleman, has been quite enlightening. I saw firsthand Mr. Zobes demonstrate student-centered instruction. There was differentiation and inclusivity. I really enjoyed seeing that in practice against theory. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Zuzana Poloniova, and I am from Slovakia. I teach English and literature at the secondary grammar school in Rožňava in Slovakia. And I'm delighted to be here as a part of this program. I cooperate and co-teach with Mrs. Gatboa. And I really admire the way she conducts her lessons. I think it's very engaging, and the students are curious and they love it. I can tell that after the lesson, some of the students even individually came to ask me further questions. So it was really a genuine interest, which is very pleasing, and I'm really glad for that. I also managed to observe other lessons in this school, and I can tell that the difference is huge. You have great facilities. It's well-equipped school. Your teachers are really distinguished and well-prepared, and I can only say positive things. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Haikanush Harutyunyan from Armenia. I teach English as a second language in the middle school in Armenia. I have had the privilege of partnering with Jessica Ferronetti, a wonderful, bright teacher. She is really supportive, and I'm really thankful to her. I also want to express my sincere appreciation for the warm welcome I have received here in Chelmsford community. I have observed many classes, and I can say that I admire the inclusivity and the engagement of each class. The students are really respectful, and they are really confident. Thank you. It is really a valuable experience for me, and thank you for everyone for everything.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I hope you're all doing well. This is Saya Kamal from Iraq Kurdistan region. I am a high school biology teacher, a curriculum coordinator in an international school, and also a senior project assistant with the United Nations. This opportunity adds value and helps me to go back and contribute effectively in both our international schools and the United Nations because of the partnership with the teachers of both special education and also biology. It helps me to positively contribute into our curriculum management and also special education requirements in United Nations because we are training trainers and the teachers with TICC training. And actually, this experience will help me to fulfill the gaps that we have with smart technique as well as with special education facilities and requirements for the children with special needs. Ms. Michelle actually helped me with lesson planning and also lab work preparations and also lab work implementations within the classes, and specifically with the lab work safety, which was really creative for our environment and our country, which we do not have those lab work safety protocols and procedures. That helps me to contribute effectively and also train other teachers in my community to do the same for chemistry and physics. Thank you for providing this opportunity. We are really happy to be here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Myself is Dr. Neel Kamal Mishra from India, coming from the capital city, New Delhi. And it has been really a very wonderful experience because my partner teacher is Brian Atchison, and he was also visited India under the same program in 2018. So the kind of rapport, kind of bonding, he was very much aware about the education system of India. And the moment I was attending his classes, I was observing and co-teaching. So the method he was using in the classes is really a very nice experience for me. How the observational techniques, activity-based learning methods, which is considered very much essential for teaching science, is using by him with the use of technology and the safety protocols in the labs. At every moment, at every minute in the Chelmsford, I learned a lot of new informations that is definitely going to help you. One very remarkable thing which really touched me, the counseling services provided in the Chelmsford High School. I got the opportunity to just understand, and many models were being used for the students for their social emotional well-being. And one very good model that I can recall is biosocial psychological model, and that model is very helpful, and I can use that in my country as well. So this is a wonderful opportunity for me to be here and to learn the things. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Good evening. Okay, my name is Eli Kamonya Opio. I'm a Kenyan. I teach in high school. I teach in two schools. A little bit louder. Okay, I teach in two schools. One of the schools is in Kenya, and another one is in USA called Chelmsford. Yes, the Kenyan school is called Uhuru Girls. Is in Turkana County, where the first humankind was discovered. I've really enjoyed being here as a teacher, and I still be a teacher because we are what call, according to this guy called Siemens, who came up with this kind of theory of co-connectivism that we shall do online. In fact, yesterday we were supposed to have a class with my student in Kenya through Zoom, a symposium is Dr. Tanini. She has been there for me. In fact, it's my first time to learn how to use the smart board. I'm going back to my chalkboard at home. I'm also with me. I'm going with so many materials from her through the email and so forth. I've really enjoyed the up to now. I've even discovered indeed learning belongs to the learner. Yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so those were our 6 fellows, and as I'm sure you could tell, very impressive, both with what they bring to the table and their thoughts and experiences being at Chelmsford High School. So if there are questions for either me or any of the fellows, we can entertain that, and then we'll finish up with the group picture.
Right, anybody have any questions, comments? I got to ask the question.
Yeah.
What do they think of the snow?
Well, I would answer for them and probably say they don't really love it, mainly because there's been so many cancellations of events. And
Yeah.
Monday is the day in which they get to visit the schools, and there's been 2 cancellations because of Mondays. But they're going to be coming in on Thursday as like a makeup day, a snow day, makeup day. So.
All right, anybody else?
Well, I think it's always an incredible program. I've been on the school committee now, I think this is my 7th year, and every year the group is different. The group brings their individual talents to the table. We see it, and we see incredible stuff every single year. And this year, I don't know what everybody else thought, but I thought each one of you really presented something technical or that you got in prior years. It was more social type of explanation of what you got in the classroom. And I just honestly think that this is the best thing we can do because you bring so much diversity to us as well, and we learn something new all the time. So I really appreciate it, and I know students are impacted by it. I sometimes get comments from students about the teachers they met during this time. So it's wonderful, and thank you so much for sharing. And for our teachers, what an amazing testament to, our great staff. And so really wonderful.
Right, anybody else?
I just wanted to make a quick comment that I was really encouraged to hear how many of you mentioned the inclusivity that you felt in our classrooms. I know that's something that we strive for and we talk about a lot. And someone mentioned the social emotional learning, where I might not have expected that you were really coming to get that out of it, more of an academic. So I'm really encouraged to hear that you noticed what we put into those programs.
Similarly, I loved hearing the mentions of student-centered learning, which is something I care a lot about. I work in education aside from this role, and that's something I'm always curious about from what an external set of eyes might see in our schools. So hearing your perspectives on what you see as you look at our classrooms is really valuable to me because you come with knowledge about teaching and pedagogy, but with truly new eyes on our schools and our systems. So thank you all for sharing your insights and what you've noticed.
As everybody said, it's great to hear from you. It was great that we have so many science teachers here. I'm a science teacher, so I'm kind of prejudiced in that way, but I had to get that in there, right? And very, very impressive credentials and everything else, and I thank you very much for coming tonight. So you're going to try to do a picture somehow?
Yeah, so we'll bring everybody back here, man.
Oh, I'm glad I dressed up. You can put your arm up. You need to hold your arm up.
Kind of behind your back.
No, I think you should show it off.
Come around here.
No, I can't be, that's wrong out of my contract. It's out of my contract. Yeah, I know, it's really bad, it's getting old. So sad.
We're gonna have to squeeze or make 2 rows. Yeah.
All right, yes, I know. I'll sit in front. Some other people.
Maria, you better get in the picture. Oh. Yeah, I saw you. You're a school committee member. You're a school committee member.
All right, everybody, look over here. Everybody, everyone can move into the middle here. We have plenty of room here. Yes.
Look,
Go behind. Put the women in front only because you're taller.
I'm here, I'm good.
Okay, everybody, look.
Just one
Oh, you're
second.
getting in there too?
Just one, no.
Oh, you're getting the chair out? All right.
All right. Make sure, Prahad, you take your picture.
Finger on the camera though.
Okay, everybody look forward. We're gonna do several of these. Smile, don't smile, do whatever you'd like. All right. And I'll step out of the way.
Matthew will appreciate that one. Okay. All right, done.
See why I have.
All right, great, thank you all very much. All right, enjoy the rest of your time here.
Thank you.
Matthew, are you guys staying for a little bit?
We're gonna hang for a while, right?
Yeah, they stay for a while, and then at some point they'll subtly leave.
Okay.
But probably before the budget. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
well,
guess.
they just, have them.
But they have to observe for a while.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll continue with the meeting agenda, and our T fellows are going to participate and watch some of the meeting. And then at some point in the future, if you need to leave, that's totally fine. You just kind of get up and go out, but stay for as much as you would like.
Exciting budget.
Well, I know, I'm very excited about it, Maria.
Well, we have
All
minute
right.
first. We'll get
Yeah, we got a
excited for
Couple
that.
things first, yeah.
Okay.
So next up, we're actually going to hear from Catherine Richard, who is our mathematics coordinator. Much friendlier than the former coordinator.
You still back there?
He is going to provide an update.
He's here to
for us.
confuse us.
He is.
She's the former.
I was confused when I walked in and saw him.
On math.
We're always confused when we see him.
So welcome, Catherine. And this continues our spotlight on one of our meetings. Again, sometimes we have a school present. Tonight we have mathematics to get a little update, K-12, of what's happening. So we'll turn it over to Catherine.
Great, thank you so much for having me. I apologize, I have a little bit of a cold, so if you can't hear me, just let me know and I'll try to speak a little louder. So tonight we're going to talk about mathematics. First, I kind of wanted to share kind of the vision for the work that we're doing this year. And it's really about having a coherent K-12 program that built on understanding, skills, problem solving, with the idea that we're preparing all students for future learning and beyond school. So that's kind of a theme that we're using in our work. So to start out with, we'll talk about year 3 of implementation of Reveal. We'll talk a little bit about what we're doing in the middle schools and some new opportunities and partnerships that we have at the high school. So to begin with, we are really focusing on taking the last 2 years where we've really worked on using Reveal and the parts that come with Reveal, and really now taking that to the next level with focusing on the pedagogy and using data to inform the work that we're doing. So we've had 2 professional learning days with the elementary school teachers, myself and the 2 math specialists, and we've also done 1 professional learning with our paraprofessionals. So that's a new thing that we did this year that went really, really well. So we just had one a couple weeks ago, and we had a theme. The theme was subtraction. So I know, you can imagine that we spent a whole 2.5 hours talking about subtraction, K-4, so that was really exciting. But really, it was about understanding the progression of the standards. So one of the activities we did was we did a sort, and we had all the standards, K-6, that are related to subtraction. And we put them on the table, and we had the teachers kind of figure out what grade went with what standard, and we had a problem that went with that. And so they had to sort it all out. And I think that they were a little surprised at how low it goes and how far it goes. Part of the day, we also talked about the implications of subtraction for the high school, because everything that they're learning kind of moves all the way up to algebra, because we subtract in algebra just like we subtract in elementary school. So it was a great day. I think the teachers took a lot from it. So we've been really talking about the standards, connecting representations so that they understand why. I think there's a lot of talk about the new math. And the new math has been around for about 20 years now, so it's not so new anymore, but we keep just calling it new math. But it's really just about understanding before kind of the manipulation that we kind of all grew up with. So it's kind of breaking habits for teachers to understand that we don't just jump right to the algorithm. We really want to build conceptual understanding first. So that's really been our focus for this year, which has been really good. So we have 1 more left, and we're kind of working on, we did a survey at the end of this last professional learning day to see what the teachers might want to focus on for that one. I think they really liked, we mixed them up a little bit by grade and by school, and I think they really enjoyed that. So that is exciting. Next, to move to middle school. I know there was some talk earlier in the year about that we were changing the criteria for placement into 7th grade from 6th grade. And I want to assure you that we're not changing the criteria. We are replacing 2 assessments with a new assessment. So we, prior to this year, students would take 2 assessments at the end of the school year. One was called the Basic Skills Assessment, and one was called the Aptitude Assessment. And those 2 assessments, along with MCAS, iReady, grades, our students participate in the Continental Math League competitions, teacher recommendation, all of those things combined would kind of give the students a placement going into 7th grade. So all we've done is take away those 2 district developed assessments, and we're replacing it with a nationally normed assessment called the Iowa Algebra Aptitude Test. It's been around for a really long time. We used to do with paper and pencil, and now it's on the computers. It takes 45 minutes, and it gives us more information than just readiness. It also gives us where students are across the standards as well. So we will be able to use that information along with kind of where they are in their readiness as part of our criteria. So this kind of explains it a little bit. We created this this table, and you can kind of see the expectations for the 3 levels. So we have honors, accelerated, and grade level. And again, we're still using MCAS, we're still using iReady, we're still using grades, and now we've added the Iowa Algebra Aptitude Test in there. We're gonna give it in May. Teachers will still have a big input into placement, and as normal, if parents have any concerns or questions about placement, they can reach out to their teacher or myself. I sent the parents a letter at the end of January with the same information, so parents have been informed of this information as well.
While you're here, can I ask a question?
Absolutely.
Definitely no vested interest as the parent of a 6th grader. But I hear from a lot of people asking questions about this because I know a lot of parents of 6th graders. And one question I keep hearing is, so that people have seen this chart, and as an educator, I know a lot of kids are jagged profiles, right? They may be getting really good grades, but not strong test takers, or other kids are doing well on tests, but maybe lack some study skills, so their grades are just a little under one mark or another. What's the ultimate decision rest on? Is it on the teacher? Is it on the family? Is it on some, like, if 4 out of 5 categories fall in one of these things? You know, what is the final decision on this?
Ultimately, the teachers will make a recommendation. Once that is done, parents will have the opportunity to override that decision, and then that decision then comes to me, and I make the ultimate decision. I take all the information along with, typically I have a conversation with the teacher. We look at the data. I'm not as black and white as it's all or nothing. I try to think of it more as a holistic way of looking at a student's readiness. I think that's one of the reasons why I brought the Iowa Algebra Aptitude Test in, because it is less subjective, because it is nationally normed. I feel pretty confident about its ability to predict readiness. So, you know, this is the procedure that has been used prior to me coming to Chelmsford, and it's also the way we do placement at the high school.
Right, so that was going to be my follow-up question, which is, does my concern to some extent as a school committee member here, so this is separating from my parent question, is tracking. It gets me a little concerned about tracking if a kid who's still developing their kind of executive functioning skills and tracking skill and overall numeracy, thank you, skills, in 6th grade is set in a path that predetermines what level of math they can do in 9th grade. And I was just curious if you have any information on how many kids wind up changing. You know, for example, a kid who's in honors in 7th and 8th grade who realizes that that's not the right path for them in high school versus a kid who might be in the grade level classes in 7th and 8th grade who shows real promise and is able to move up in placement? Or is it very frequently what you are in 7th grade really determines your track in high school?
I personally have strong feelings about that as well, and I believe that kids do develop at different times. So for me, it's understanding that there is not a direct path from, say, grade level to CP2 at the high school or accelerated to CP. I feel like the path is more fluid than that. I think it's all about setting up the student for success, and that success may come when they're a little bit more mature and they've, you know, maybe developed their thinking skills a little bit more. It's all about recognizing where the student is, and that can change. So we spend a lot of time in 7th and 8th grade talking about students and their tends to be some movement at the beginning of the year when a 7th grade teacher may come to me and say, hey, Catherine, I noticed this student seems to be really shining. I would like to move them up a level, and we've done that. It's not a blanket. We don't look at every single student. We look when the time arises, and we again, we look at the data. We look at the fall iReady data. I feel like the best predictor of Iowa is probably one of the best predictors, but I think MCAS is a really good predictor, and I feel pretty confident that the kids that are getting exceeds will do very well at honors across, middle school into high school. I don't necessarily think grades are a great predictor of readiness because grades are subjective. And so that's why I feel like we've got a nice mix of nationally normed assessments along with some teacher input.
Yeah, I mean,
Jump in for a second here. Just,
Yeah.
so we don't, when I hear tracking, I think all kids are in honors for everything that they go through. So the high school, especially when you start getting to the high school level, they have leveling, right? So kids actually ebb and flow in and out of levels. Like I've seen students who have taken multiple honors courses, and then all of a sudden they kind of realize, I might be more on the humanities side, I'm more on the STEM side, so I'm going to put my focus towards that, so they might change their levels. I've seen students change their levels in, 9th, 10th, and 11th grade. I see some nodding from some of the teachers in the audience. So typically what ends up happening is beyond the data, there's a lot of conversations that happen too with the students. Like we've had some kids that they kind of get into their groove, they're ready. They've taken some courses over the summer, they've studied on their own, and they'll come in and advocate for themselves, which is something that I always try to push forward, is make sure your children talk to their teachers, right? Because we're always talking to them. Let them know that you have an interest in this and what are some of the things that they would like to do in order to move forward. So it does ebb and flow. You're not lockstep. You're going to be in honors for math, English, science, social studies, world language, you name it, for the whole gamut. You can come and go, and we've seen them go up and down. When we look at the trending, when we're doing scheduling, and in speaking to the high school teachers specifically, because that's where you see more honors classes and obviously getting into the AP, we don't have a lot of movement at the high school. Like kids typically get in there and maybe a handful tops, depending on the coursework, make a change, but the teachers are right on top of that saying this may not be working forward, or the opposite. They might be like, why are you in this class? You actually need to bump yourself up to an honors class. And we always recommend, if you're right on that fence, push them up. Like always try to get higher. And if it's not working out, then there's some movement after the fact. So you're not stuck in a track per se.
I hear what you're saying, and yet the fact remains that the only thing kids are placed on in middle school is math. And so that, I guess I'm going to use the word jagged profile kid who's really strong in a different subject area, but maybe weaker in math, may by de facto feel like they're left out of this push toward more challenging classes because they're not following the same courses as peers who just happen to be stronger in math. So that is a concern I still have. It goes beyond the scope of today. But I guess here's I think a broader question that might put, one of my concerns is where are the kids who are, let's follow the grade level path, wind up when they get to high school. At the end of the day, are they entering high school with the equivalent of algebra under their belt?
Entering high school, no, because the standards don't cover algebra in 8th grade. 8th grade standards cover some linearity, but they don't cover the whole entirety of Algebra 1. Algebra 1 is taken in 9th grade. All of our students have the opportunity to get to pre-calculus at every level, whether it's honors or grade level. At the high school, we don't call it grade level, we call it college prep. Everybody has the opportunity, because we do have a 4-year math requirement, to get to pre-calculus, which is what most universities are looking for students to get to, is at least pre-calculus. Mass Core, which is the DESE, they are looking for a course beyond Algebra 2, and we offer that. So I feel pretty confident that we're providing students with a very comprehensive program that prepares them well for college. I've done a lot of observing in my 2 years that I've been here, and I've seen incredible, hardworking kids doing hard math at every level. And it's not, the curriculum doesn't change for the level. So I can be in an Algebra 2 class, and they are both studying rational expressions. Honors might be, making it a little bit more complicated with trig or whatever they're adding into it, but everyone is still getting the standards, covering the standards.
Yeah. My reason for asking about algebra specifically is because I know there's a lot of research showing that students who enter high school with algebra 1 under their belt have a lot stronger likelihood of finding success later in being strong in math and being able to pursue if they choose to STEM degrees and things like that.
But the research shows if they're ready. To
Right.
push kids into algebra
I
in 8th
agree
grade
there.
is not been the research. If you just even look at San Francisco and what has happened there, they had to back it up because they were pushing kids. We follow the state standards, and the standards are that's the norm. An 8th grader, we have very few 8th graders. We have a very small percentage of students in 8th grade doing Algebra 1. The majority of our students at Chelmsford High School are in Algebra 1 in 9th grade. So that is the standards, and that is what we're following. So I feel pretty confident that that's the right answer.
Yeah, no, that's good to know. I think my main reason for asking about it was more to make sure that kids weren't being prematurely as early as 6th grade kind of locked out of getting a college preparatory experience in high school.
Absolutely
It sounds like
not.
there's
Am
some,
I correct, Andrew? You test again in 8th grade, correct?
Only if need be. So in 8th grade, the teachers will again make a recommendation for classes and levels. And so a student who's in accelerated for 8th grade could get a recommendation for honors Algebra 1, or they could get a recommendation for college prep. It just depends on where the student is and their readiness at that
yeah,
moment.
no, that's helpful. I just like to know that there's more valve points for students to make those movements and not be necessarily locked into whatever their 12-year-old selves are.
No, I couldn't agree more. It's all about.
I have a question.
Yes, Maria.
Having had two students who went through this, and both, they're different in terms of math, but what is the student's role in this selection process? This is the one concern I have, okay? Because I remember one of my girls was taken aside by the person who makes the recommendation. And that person said to her, if you go to accelerated, you will be a straight A student. If you go to the highest level,
Yeah, honors.
you are not going to always get A's. Now, it took her strength to say, I want to be challenged and I want to move forward. And that's what she did, okay? It concerns me that the student is not there advocating for himself or herself. Maybe they are, but it's not on this list. And I think that that's really important because some students will come home and talk to their parent, and the parent is very well equipped to come in and challenge whatever's going on, but some students are not, yet they really feel the need to go for it. And it concerns me that at that point, you're removing a huge level of confidence from an individual. I know that at that level, the person who feels bright enough and suddenly they're told, okay, no, you can't do that. It really impacts their confidence in the mathematical move forward, especially women, believe it or not, I think.
Yeah.
So I think it's, and I'm not going to say it's all boys too. I really think that it would be important to make sure there is a place in here for the student to self-advocate.
I can tell you that students are more involved at the higher levels. So starting in 8th grade, the teachers do have conversations with the students, and definitely in the high school, they all have conversations with every single student about what they're planning to study, what they are interested in. They have those exact conversations. Are you okay with not getting an A? Because a lot of students aren't okay. And that brings up the anxiety because they're so pushing because they want to be perfect, so they would rather be in a lower level and get the A versus being in a higher level and actually maybe getting a B. So that conversation is had when the student is a little bit more mature. I think at the 6th grade level, they are 12-year-olds, and I don't know if, I think that it might be better to have those conversations with the parents, maybe the students involved in the conversation if there is a question about it. But as the students get older, we certainly do involve them in the conversations.
Yeah, it would seem important to me that the students realize they can be part of that conference with a parent, coming in and talking to either the teacher or to yourself about advocating for themselves, because they're the ones in that environment. I understand what you're saying, but I think that, just saying to kids, okay, it's great to get a straight A. Oh, it's wonderful to get straight A's all the time. But then where's the challenge? And where's the ability to continue to grow and so on? And that's part of what we teach as well. So I think that I would love to see more that in writing, that there can be some kind of evaluation and participation by both parents and students in the process. But this is just from my own experience and what I went through, and many parents have approached me before on this, so that concerns me as well.
Appreciate that. Thank you for sharing.
Can I just ask a question on the curriculum? So you said the way the curriculum is set up, for the most part, the students are ready to take Algebra 1 freshman year and get to pre-cal. What would be the sequence for those kids that want to get to calculus and AP calculus? How does they fit that into?
So right now, students have the opportunity to double up their sophomore year, taking geometry and algebra 2 concurrently because the curriculums don't necessarily overlap. There's a little overlap because you do a lot of algebra and geometry, but you can take geometry and algebra 2 at the same time. And that has been the norm for, I don't want to age myself, but I doubled up myself when I was in high school a very long time ago. So this has been the norm for a long time for students that, for whatever reason, whether their middle school didn't offer it or they weren't ready at the time to be in Algebra 1. So we do have that opportunity, and a lot of students do take us up on that. So we have a nice number of students that double up sophomore year.
So they would do that sophomore, then they would do pre-cal, cal.
Yep.
How do they get to AP cal? Like, how do those kids?
If you get to pre-calculus, you can get to calculus at any level. So if
Okay.
you are in pre-calculus your junior year, it's not an easy jump. I'm
Yeah,
not going to
yeah,
say
yeah.
it's easy to go from maybe CP algebra to, CP pre-calculus to AP calculus. Kids do it. They need to probably do some work on their own to make sure that they have the skill set that they need to be successful in calculus. But we do have students that do that.
So do we just offer Calc AB? Do we have?
No, we
CT?
offer, we have.
How do they get the CT? I mean, that's what our math is.
Yeah, no, we have 3 levels of calculus at
Yeah.
the high school. We have BC calculus, which is equivalent to 2 semesters of college calculus. We have AB, which is 1 semester, and then we have calculus CP. So we offer calculus at the CP level for any student who is interested, that if as long as they've met the prerequisites.
So they would have to double up a couple times to get to.
Just one
BC.
time, just one time.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah.
No, math, I know, everybody's math curriculum just
I
webs
know.
out like crazy, so that's why I was trying to figure out how we do it, so.
Yep.
Good.
All right, let's talk a little bit about what's happening in 7th and 8th grade. In 7th and 8th grade, we are continuing the work that we did last year with the DM group using the Breakthrough Results program that they offered us. We are taking some of the tenets from that program with the idea that you basically use data to come up with a target area. Our target area is algebra and algebraic thinking. We have collaborative meetings with the teachers weekly, and during those meetings, we look at data, we progress monitor, and we come up with strategic interventions for students, whether it's pulling small groups and different things like that. So we're taking what we learned last year and kind of adjusting it a little bit, but still using the idea of progress monitoring to inform the work that we're doing. So that's been really positive. And our high school, this is where I'm really excited about some of the things that we're going to be offering at the high school level. We are offering for the first time ever a financial mathematics course. And it's really that bridge between math and life. And so practical approach to real life choices using math. And it is a senior course, full year. And people seem to be pretty excited about it. The enrollment looks really good so far. It also supports the state literacy initiative that is in draft form right now. So this would fall under that as well. So we're pretty excited about that course. And finally, we just got approved for a new dual enrollment course at the high school. Our pre-calculus class is now been approved for dual enrollment with Middlesex. And we're pretty excited about this. This really complements the early college grant that we're working on. It provides a second math because we already have one dual enrollment class now for our statistics class. So now we have 2 math classes, which is what students need towards the associates. They actually needed 2 approved dual enrollment math classes. So this will allow students who are interested in early college to satisfy those requirements. So this was a big deal for us this year. So pretty excited about that.
Really, I promise this one's really quick.
No
Do
worries.
all students who take pre-calculus have the option of taking it as a dual enrollment course, or is that only open for students doing certain pathways?
Right now, it's our CP pre-calculus course
Okay.
that has been approved for dual enrollment.
Okay.
So we had to submit our curriculum, and our teachers have to get approved by Middlesex to teach, so.
Other questions? On your financial mathematics, I assume it's an elective.
It's not.
Not.
It's not. It'll be a core math course that kids can take for credit, so senior year only. This is for somebody who might not be on the calculus track, that still needs to satisfy their math requirement to get some really hands-on, really applicable, practical math for life.
So could they take it in lieu of pre-calc then?
They can.
Okay,
They
that's-
can.
I guess.
Yep.
Okay.
I mean, they can also take statistics if they don't want to take pre-calculus.
Right.
There's options. Once you get past freshman year, things start opening up a little bit more, and we have lots of options for students. Kids that can take calculus don't necessarily. Some take AP statistics, some take our intro to statistics, and some kids will end up taking this financial mathematics course.
Okay, and this is, I assume, at the CP level or?
It is at the CP level. Yep.
Okay. great.
Yep.
Is this, so I know it's not finalized yet, but the state is working on a new requirement for graduation. And there's talk of a financial literacy course as part of that. If that passes, would this be the course that would meet that requirement?
It's too soon for us to determine that.
Yeah.
It would satisfy that, but I'm guessing that
They'd need it for
Dr.
everybody.
Hirsch and I will be spending a lot of time together over the next 4 or 5 years, figuring out what that
What's
looks
going to
like.
go and what's going to
Yeah.
replace it. That's where it's going to be
Yeah,
problematic.
it's going to cause a lot of
So-
disruption.
so many
I'm sure.
years.
There's only
high
so
school.
much time, the students already take more in their class load than they need for
Yeah.
requirement to graduate from high school. So it's like, there's only so much time in the day.
And this is a
Yeah.
full year course, so I wouldn't, like, this is not.
Oh, that would be
Yeah,
more
we'll
of a
probably be looking
part-time.
more for a half
We
year.
probably will do something.
Yeah. Maria?
Our next presentation is on the strategic the strategic plan.
Yes.
And one of the items that's been on that plan for a long time on academic achievement priority is getting those percentiles up in terms of the MCAS results. And when I look at this and look at 2024 actual for students with adequate annual growth in math, from 55 in 24 to 48 in 2025, it worries me. And so you had said that it looks like MCAS is a good predictor of what's going on in mathematics with an individual. Is this, what can we do as a district that we're not already doing? What would be your recommendation on what we need to do,
I know better
given
than
whatever
to
we have in the budget?
Dr. Hirsch and Dr. Lang and I meet with Dr. Parks monthly to talk about math. So I've spent a lot of time with them sharing some ideas. I think calling attention to it, putting, the house is on fire is kind of the analogy that I've been using with teachers a little bit to share, like, this is important, we need to do better, and how are we gonna do that? We do have limitations as a district, so we have to work within those limitations. But allowing us, we work the schedule around this year to add more common planning time for teachers. So having that time gives teachers an opportunity to collaborate a little bit more on a weekly basis. So I think that was a step in the right direction. This is only my second year, so I still have to, figure things out. And my goal was really to learn last year and not make changes. And so even though I'm making changes, I'm trying to make them in a thoughtful way and not, throw out the baby with the bathwater, as the saying goes, to really learn and make changes that make sense. So I think we're still, I do think that last year we made some progress, and I think looking at the preliminary middle of the year data, Dr. Hirsch and I looked at that with the iReady folks 2 weeks ago. We just got some preliminary data. There seems to be some movement.
Yeah, so what's hard, especially at that level, so when you start getting 7th and 8th grade, that's like education the way probably most of us remember, right? You have your 4 separate teachers. Starting that work where we're looking at the focus standards, that's new for a 7th and 8th grade teacher. 7th and 8th grade teachers, having been one, you're going unit by unit, you're going to keep going. Taking that step back and really actually progress monitoring, that's a very common term for your elementary school teachers. But when you start getting in those upper grades, they're kind of like, what are you talking about? You need me to stop? Look at the data, back up, reteach, like, we got to keep going. So that's going to take, this is only the second year that those teachers are now been exposed to something like that, and looking at their, pre and post test, it's going to take them a little bit more time, and then they'll get that aha moment of like, okay, how can we stop, and how can I spiral this skill all the way through? Because if they don't do that, we're going to still see flat data and negative data as we go along. So, like Catherine said, this is like a slow process, and it is moving forward with the teachers, and they're doing a good job with that, but it's going to take a little bit more time because it's not common practice for a secondary teacher to do progress monitoring like an elementary up to grade 6 possibly teacher. So that is one of the biggest things that we can do, is stopping, pausing, looking at those foundational standards, because without them, the house falls down. Not on fire, it falls down.
All right, that's probably better.
A little less.
Yeah, a little less dramatic, but it's still some drama.
Thanks. I appreciate that you addressed that. I really do. Thank you.
Yeah.
You don't want me to ask my last question?
Yeah,
do you?
ask your last question.
And this is it. I've been thinking a lot about math in the sense of what we're going to do with an AI policy coming up, and we have some discussions coming up for AI. And I think, and maybe I'm wrong, but more and more, okay, the problems have been solved. I mean, the AI knows how to solve the problem, and the AI is going to be able to tell you what the solution is. So it's creating new problems and being able to think in a different way, and so on. Are we thinking of that as we continue with our curriculum, with the development of our math curriculum? Are we thinking 2-3 years from now and where that senior leaving high school needs to be as they move on?
I think that math has always had that challenge because the answers to the odd problems were always in the back of the book. And I know as a teacher myself of mathematics, I actually would give the odd problems as the problems that I wanted them to solve because I wanted them to check their answers. I think that AI is a little bit different in that it gives you the answer, but it also shows you the steps. I don't think, I mean, to be truthful, photo math has been around for more than 5 years. I think AI is hitting different subject areas at different times, but kids have had the ability to do that for a long time now. I think it's really about having students explain their reasoning, explain their thinking, which is the skills that we're trying to build at the elementary. So it's not just, I can manipulate this and I know the answer. What did you do? Can you solve it a different way? Like those are the things that we have to stay all the time because guess what? If 10 kids have the same work and the same answer, you know what we're gonna say? Yeah, hello, we're not stupid. We know that you got this from photo math. I mean, I think we just have to expect kids to show their work, do problem solving in class so that they're not just doing all the problem solving at home. There's problem solving in class so that the teacher's circling, asking questions, you know, having kids present their solutions. All of that, I think, helps us, but I don't think it's gonna change math a lot because I think it already has a little bit.
I've been impressed with some of the presentations we had on those early grades and the math and the thinking, the evolution of the thinking, which is great.
Yeah.
I think it's the in-between group that is going to have a bit of a struggle for a few years. And those kids are already getting that kind of thinking, which is good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Right, anybody else have any other questions? Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Catherine, thank you.
Thank you.
I'll shut this off. Or you're gonna need it, okay, I'll turn it back on for you. All right, thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Catherine, appreciate
All
it.
right, let's hope we don't.
Drive safe.
snow tonight.
Oh, don't be talking about
Only a couple inches
Only a couple inches.
We'll be fine.
delay.
That's all.
No,
No,
regular start tomorrow.
please, as somebody who works from home, please, no.
All right, we are now going to shift to our next presentation on the night. Maria kind of touched on it a second ago. Maggie Gallagher from DM Group, our partner who works with us on the strategic planning. And this is year 4 of our strategic plan. We're in kind of the progress monitoring piece that Linda talked to about a little earlier, is going to provide the mid-year update for us. So Maggie, thank you for coming.
Great.
And you've got your little clicker.
Got it.
All right, we look forward to having you.
Awesome. Thanks, Dr. Lang, and good evening, school committee members. I'm excited to be here again to share our mid-year update. We'll use a similar format that we've used in the past, so none of this should come as a massive surprise how we're going to tackle this tonight, but do stop if you've got questions as we go. So as always, these are our folks who work on the steering committee that helps to lead this work. We meet every about six to 7 weeks as a full steering committee, and then these groups meet in between those meetings, both to do the work, but also to give each other updates on that work as well. You've seen this many times now at this point, but this is the process that we're using. We are in that second phase of implementation around tracking and reporting on progress. Like Dr. Lang said, we are in year 4 of this process. So really the bulk of the work is just what is happening, how do we test if it's working, and how do we make sure there's cohesion across all of the different groups. Some of you are on those meetings as well, so you're very familiar with the process that we use, but really ultimately want to make sure that people are working together to get to all of those measurable goals that are part of the strategic plan. As you also know, this is the framework that we've been using throughout this entire strategic planning process. We spend a lot of our time in each of those meetings talking about those two boxes you see at the bottom, the orange and the red, the initiatives and the action steps that go along with those. So that's how we're spending the bulk of our time when we are coming together and talking about the strategic plan. I'm going to go through now each of those 5 strategic plan areas: academic achievement, equity, social emotional learning, human capital, operations, and facilities, and really do 2 things. One, give just where we're at with the data mid-year and kind of benchmarking how we are in terms of meeting progress towards the end of the year targets that Maria mentioned as it relates to academic achievement earlier. And then just giving a couple highlights from what we're hearing qualitatively from folks who are doing that work every single day. So we will start with academic achievement here, just to orient you to what you're seeing on the slide. The top box around metrics, those are all of the measurable goals that are part of the strategic plan. And then you can see from 2024 data all the way to the 2026 target. And then the mid-year data there is in the second to last column. So that's where we're at right now. And green means that we are on track to meet the end of year target based on where we're at. Yellow means we are not as quite on track as we'd like to be, but growth is being made. You'll see kind of throughout the presentation where that's the case. And then red being off track. And then below, what you see with the orange box is the initiatives, where each of the initiatives for this particular school year are in terms of their on-trackness, if you will. So for academic achievement, what you can see here is that for all of the metrics that we have data for so far, we are very much on track to meet the 2026 targets. You can see that there's one that's not highlighted, the percent of 8th graders meeting standards and reading based on iReady. That's because we actually don't have that as part of the plan, but we're keeping track of it just because it makes sense to include that if we're also using math. So not exactly measuring that in the exact same way, but as you can see here, lots of great stuff on track here, which has not typically been the case, and we've come together mid-year throughout the strategic plan, so it's really exciting to see where we're headed for all of these goals before the end of the year. For the equity priority, it's set up the exact same way that you can see here. So you see that middle of the year column with the with the green and the yellow are where we are at in terms of being on track. For the 2 areas where you see yellow there, so percent of 3rd grade students with IEPs meeting or exceeding standards in math, and then the bottom 1% of 8th grade students who are economically disadvantaged, meeting or exceeding, we are not quite on track, but it's by like 1 percentage point when you do the math. So really close there, seeing a lot of really great movement. As you all know, the district has been working really hard around ensuring that paraeducators are able to help provide support for students in a really effective manner. And you heard Catherine talk earlier about what that's looked like for math. But the real focus here this year is on that onboarding and continued training for paraeducators. So we spent a lot of time last year thinking about roles and responsibilities. This year has been spent really thinking about what does it mean to make sure those folks are equipped to provide the support in the most effective way that they can that supports both the special education teacher and the general education teacher. So that's been a huge part of the initiatives that have happened here in this group this year, but that is where we are at in terms of the equity priority right now.
And what distinguishes being on track and growth is like 75% of there, and what's the, you said?
So we took so how much percentage point growth would need to be made between beginning of year, end of year, and just halved it.
Okay.
So if it's green, it means that you're more than halfway to that sort of percentage point growth, and then yellow is just like a few percentage points. I wouldn't want to call that off track, just to only be 1 or 2 percentage points away. Great. For social emotional learning, this is actually the first year that this SEL group has had mid-year data, so that's really exciting that they're able to kind of track where they're at. In the past, the panorama hasn't covered mid-year, and so they've kind of had to find creative ways throughout the year to figure out if they are on track. So it's exciting to actually have this data this year. So what you can see here is that for all of those, except for that first one, they are on track to meet or exceed, actually, the end of year target. This is tricky for a few of these, just given that they're starting really high. So if you look at students reporting having supporting relationships from grades 3 all the way through 12, 88% and 87% are already really high starting points. Panorama at this point is getting a pretty good base of nationally normed data, and they've also noted that this is really high, and so don't want to penalize them too much for not taking it even higher by the end of the year. But that's where we're at with this particular group. Again, a little bit of a celebration that we even have this data. That's going to really help this group to continue to action plan towards the end of the year. And then for human capital, similar to SEL, we haven't always had formative data throughout the course of the year. This is the first year that this group has really worked with principals to ensure that principals are not only continuing to incorporate topics of equity, inclusion, and meeting the needs of diverse learners within their PD, but that they're actually measuring whether or not that's happening. So they did a mid-year survey with about almost 500 responses from staff throughout the course of the winter months. And so the questions were a bit more granular in nature to really help them action plan moving forward, but there was a comparable mid-year question that said, how easy do you find interacting with students at your school who are from a different cultural background than your own? And 92% of staff members who took that survey responded positively. So again, don't have the exact same questions that we ask on that Panorama survey at the end of the year, but some early indicators from some PD surveys are really positive so far. So hopefully that means that we're on track with this group. But just good to have that data.
I just want to make a quick comment
Yeah.
on that. That's things we've talked about in our progress monitoring meetings. It was really good to have that question be very specific, because we've talked about that. Is some of the data ambiguous because we weren't sure what people interpreted that meaning of diverse as. So I'm really glad to see that that question was very specific, so that the answer, the percentage, helped us to know exactly what they understood that question to mean. So I'm glad to see that happen.
Yeah, and there were about 5 other questions that they also asked that really helped get under some of that as well. So the questions themselves really teased out some of these bigger understandings that we have for these questions as part of the strat plan.
I think that's really helpful.
Yeah. Great. And then finally, for the operations and facilities, on track on all of these different metrics. Obviously, 2.7 million already approved for next year at the town meeting, so that's really great news. So everything on track here. This is a group that oftentimes gets their final data sooner than the rest of the groups because of where different initiatives fall throughout the school year. And then obviously, Dr. Lang shared a lot about everything related to the new building. So that's not explicitly here, but it's obviously a big part of that work as well. Great. You all are very familiar with these updates at this point, so I'll open it up if there's any other questions or thoughts here.
Anybody have any questions about the?
Very familiar with it.
I know.
We've got a good routine at this point.
The comment seems like we're heading in the right direction.
Yeah.
Based on this stuff, which is great, because I know sometimes we have our ups and downs, but this data is, very positive, I thought.
Yeah, especially as we head into year 4, it starts to get very real that we want to meet those targets. So we're really, really happy with the mid-year results and hope those continue.
Apropos to that, I actually do have one question, which is really a simple one, which is just for those who are not necessarily attending these meetings in the loop. You mentioned we're heading into year 4. Could you share when the process will begin for strategic planning for the next strategic plan?
Yeah, so we're in year 4. We'll wrap year 4 this and head into year 5 of this particular work. Obviously, the district might have a choice of whether or not they continue to utilize us to use that to help craft that next 5-year plan. But we would recommend next school year, starting right at the beginning of the school year in the fall, to really start gathering that needs assessment data and then ultimately using current performance as a metric for how you all move forward for that next 5-year plan. So next year would be our recommendation.
Yeah, so having been in there right from the beginning of the strategic planning, and this is why I do have a lot of comments or questions, because I've been in this for, this period of time. I really think this has been extremely important for the district. And I want to commend you for, bringing in the outside group, making sure, and they've done, I think, a very good job. And being able to assess on a quantitative level something like where we're going with a social emotional component, where we put quite a bit of effort and money, assets into it. And it's so important for any student's achievement, but it's so difficult to quantify. And being able to look at that and say, okay, maybe we are heading in the right direction there. Things seem to still be okay, and this is what's happening on the ground, and we can see it in a number. I always question what's behind numbers, but there you go. I think is important. I've seen in the district, people remain involved, which has been great too. The administrators, the staff that's part of the group, anybody who's on this strategic planning feat, I think has really given it their all, which is important to see too. And having been in there from the beginning, it is really good to see that they're still there and they're still moving forward and they want to continue to improve. That has been a great thing for me personally to see.
You wanted to add something? Yeah.
Yeah, oh,
I just wanted to also comment that, I don't have questions now, because the process we go through these every 6 weeks is everyone from these subcommittees is in the meeting together. So the people in equity are talking to people from academics, talking to people from facilities, and we're asking questions of each other during those meetings. And that helps inform next steps, but it also keeps everyone in the loop. And I think that has just been incredibly valuable. And since we're talking about that every 6 weeks, that's why I don't have questions today. But I don't want people to think that those questions aren't happening, because that's an important part of every progress monitoring meeting, is being able to ask questions of people on the other subcommittees.
yeah, I was just going to add, I mean, I think the relationship with DM Group right out of the gate has been exceptional. I mean, we've very much enjoyed working with them. And Maggie and her colleague, Tess, have been kind of our primary contacts with the district. It started out as the strategic planning to really make sure that we had alignment within our district with regard to the academic elements we wanted to focus on, and SEL was obviously a major component with that. I think even, as Maria mentioned, as you get into the SEL, a couple of years in, when we were able to adopt Panorama and be able to have those surveys that go out regularly and even be able to have them where they're kind of norms nationally to kind of see where we fall has been helpful. So we've continued to try to advance and to kind of better what we're doing programming-wise. I think it's been super. I think having those subcommittees meet regularly also keeps us on track and on a schedule to be talking about this and to make sure, as we're going to talk about in a little bit later when it comes to budget, like everything is really aligned. Your budget document identifies your priorities in the district, and it really is much aligned to the work of the strategic planning. I did have a conversation with Tess because it's something I certainly want to continue, and I want to recommend to you that we continue next year as far as kind of a revamp of the process. And as Maggie indicated, it would start right in the fall, and I think it could be an abridged process because we don't have to do kind of a year-long review, but really between September and December, we could do our needs assessment, have some focus groups, kind of redefine what we want to have our next 5-year priorities be, have that plan in effect by January 1, and then again, as we're going into the budget cycle, make sure that our budget is really aligned to those new priorities for the years to come. So we'll certainly be working with DM Group to get a proposal on the table for that to continue the work. I think it's been excellent for us. And, even beyond the strategic planning work, we've seen like the special ed opportunities review and the work we've done with power educators in the district. There have been a lot of positive offshoots from that. And again, I think the alignment piece is important, and that's something that we want to continue. So the update tonight was excellent. I think it's nice to, again, have that kind of third-party outside group working with us. Because again, their experiences that they bring to the table, even in the work they see in other districts, has helped us and been beneficial to us, and it's been excellent. So I certainly appreciate it, and it's something I'd want to continue.
Quick question, when we're talking about math, they talked about using the BTR alongside with the DM Group. Does that stand for breakthrough results?
It does, yes.
I figured it out. Okay,
Another acronym.
thank you.
We'll have to add that to the list of acronyms.
Well, I was like, I think I know what that means. I got it.
All right, any other questions? All right, well, thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Maggie, thank you.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
All right, continuing on, item number 5 this evening is a revision that I would like you to consider. At the last meeting, we had approved salary schedules for some non-affiliated staff in the district, support staff, some central office clerical staff, our principals, central office administrators. And as I mentioned in the memo, as I was putting employment agreements together, I had made a calculation error in one of the formulas. The top, this was only in one of the cells for the non-affiliated, non-licensed central office staff. the 3%, 3%, 3% formula was carried forward in step 1, that's correct. But in steps 2 to 7, I had a formula inserted that only added 2.5%, not 3%. So it was throwing the numbers off inconsistency-wise. So the schedule I have before you this evening just corrects that error on the one salary schedule that had an error. And I would just ask for your approval to amend that.
Any questions on this? This is the only one. You went back and checked all the other
Yeah, I
ones?
checked all the other ones, and they were fine. It was just a cell insertion error that I made.
Okay. All right.
Sorry, Maria.
AI.
AI could have helped me, maybe.
All right. I'll take a motion.
Okay, I move that we approve the Appendix B, non-affiliated central administration, non-licensed staff salary schedule covering FY '27 through '29, as amended and presented.
I will second.
Okay. All right. Any further comments? I will do a roll call. Susan?
Aye.
Diana?
Aye.
Maria?
Aye.
Aye. 4-0.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And next, we have the budget hearing.
Now we get there.
Yeah, there we go.
All right. So, all been through it before, but what we're gonna do is go through it page by page. If anybody has any questions on a particular page in the budget document, that'll be the time to ask. We'll then vote on each page individually, and then at the end, we'll vote on the bottom line, budget, which is the final number we need to get to. So.
Correct.
Any questions before we start? Any comments before we start?
Just real quick, just
Yeah.
as way of background, for folks that might be watching, the summary level total page on page 10 has all of the macro level accounts by DESI function code. So ultimately, we're going to go through all the pages that correspond to that, and then you vote to approve the number that's in the far right column. And so that ultimately at the bottom will add up to the number that we bring forward to town meeting in April. And again, as like Joanna will present from time to time, if we happen to have a macro level account that needs a transfer or whatnot, those transfers come back to you. We manage the budget within the micro accounts that are on the individual pages. But we've always found it helpful to just go through page by page, answer any questions that you may have on them. And then ultimately, again, this budget would go forward to town meeting in April for approval, and then we go on from there.
Yep.
And I just wanted to make a quick comment, and I met with the superintendent, that I've done this for several years now. This budget has the least increases, decreases in the 9 years that I've been doing this, which, again, it's very indicative of the time we live in, where budgets are really, really tight. You know, if you look at a lot of the communities around us, they're really struggling. So I think it's a credit to the superintendent and the business office, Joanna, that we're able to maintain the services we've built up, given those situations, so.
Yeah, it is tight. I think, we've had tri-board, we've had different meetings with our counterparts on the town side. Yeah, I think we're actually fortunate to be in a level service budget. We'd always like to add additional staff and programs to the budget. But again, I think just based on kind of the economy, the state of affairs that we're in, even locally within the town, to be able to bring forward this budget that, again, provides all the staff and services that we're currently providing this year and next year, have it be in alignment with the town's budget that's also a level service for next year, I think is favorable to us. If you look around the local communities that are in the Merrimack Valley and across the state, particularly even when you get out a little bit western part of the state, some of the rurals and the regionals are really looking at significant budget impacts and budget cuts. And I think we're fortunate that we're not in that situation. I think we appreciate the budget that the town meeting grants us. I think we spend the money wisely that the town affords us. And I think we have a consistent pattern of doing that. So happy to talk through the budget again. Where this is a level service budget, there's not a lot of change. We try to make little side notes, footnotes to each of the pages if things do change. But we've always found it to be a good experience going through and actually just answering any questions you may have, making sure you're comfortable with the budget that moves forward. And again, just as an aside, I actually met with Joanna yesterday, even though it was a snow day, we did a remote meeting with the budget subcommittee of FinCom to review this. And then we'll actually be going forward Thursday evening to the full FinCom to present and answer any questions that they may have. So this is actually moving fairly quickly this year, which is, I think, positive, because ultimately, once we have a budget approved by the school committee, we're able to then go start actually doing our advertisements for postings. We don't have a lot, but for our handful of retirements that we have, we're able to start that actually later on this week. So,
All right, starting on page 11.
There we go.
Our first item is the school committee budget. Does anybody have any questions or comments on the school committee budget? Okay, I will take a motion to approve that item.
I move that we approve the budget for item number 1110, school committee, in the amount of $34,960.
Second.
Do we have to do roll call on all these? Yeah, we do. Okay. All right, here we go. Susan?
Aye.
Diana?
Aye.
Maria?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, moving on to page 12, superintendent. Any questions on the line item for the superintendent? Okay, having none, I will take a
Okay.
motion.
I move that we approve the budget for item number 1210, superintendent, in the amount of $519,413.
Second.
Okay, any other questions? All right, Susan? Diana?
Aye.
Maria?
Aye.
Aye, 4-0. All right, page 13, assistant superintendent. Any questions on that one? Okay,
I move that we approve the budget for item number 1220, assistant superintendent, in the amount of $299,958.
Second.
all right, any other questions? Okay, Susan? Diana?
Aye.
Maria?
Aye.
Aye, great. All right, next page, district-wide. Any questions here?
I actually do have a
Yep.
question on this one. I saw the note about the vital records preservations line item. I'm just curious, so it looks like that was not included in the 26 or 27 budget. So I'm presuming we are done with vital records preservations? There's no more needed?
There's minimal at this point in time. So this is an account where we typically, we had a couple of former kind of retired employees who came back to help us just scan a lot of our records to kind of digitize them so that we didn't have to maintain all the different paper copies. And working with Joanna, this is really the appropriate line to just record the expenses, because the actual expenses are actually more important for reporting purposes than the budgeted amount. So at this point in time, the vast majority of records have been digitized. What's going to need to be digitized is minimal, just kind of like year-end type things. So there may be a small amount going forward, but it wasn't really necessary to kind of budget it. We would, within a central office account, pay for the cost, and then ultimately we want to just make sure we're reflecting the expenditure in the appropriate place. So again, the vast majority has been completed.
Thank you.
Any other questions on district-wide budget? Okay, take a motion.
Okay, I move that we approve the budget for item number 1230, district-wide, in the amount of $501,700.
Second.
Okay, Susan?
Aye.
Diana?
Aye.
Maria?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, next up is business and finance. Any questions on this one? Okay, we'll take a motion.
I move that we approve the budget for item number 1410, business and finance, in the amount of $570,159.
Second.
All right, Susan?
Aye.
Diana?
Aye.
Maria?
Aye.
Aye, 4-0. All right, next, page 16, human resources. Any questions on this one? Okay, take a motion.
I move that we approve the budget for item number 1420, human resources, in the amount of $376,572.
Second.
All right, Susan?
Aye.
Diana?
Aye.
Maria?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, page 17, legal services and settlements. Any questions here?
Are there any anticipated, how do I put this? Does our reduction in the legal fees feel like it's a savvy choice in this current circumstances?
It does. We typically increase the legal services budget when we're going into negotiations with all of our employee groups. So like last spring, when we were doing like teachers and administrators, whatnot, we do typically increase for a negotiating year. So if you look at the trend, like every 3 years, we have to increase the budget. But when we settled all of our contracts last fiscal year, we really just have the minimal kind of operating legal fee costs. So we don't see the anticipated need for really the negotiating line item to be as big as it was.
If there were a legal issue that were to arise or a grievance or something like that, would this be sufficient, the 45,000 being held in the budget?
I think, I mean, certainly if you look at the trend even in your actuals, you know, your actual in '24 and '25 is well under the 45. That would be a general year. If something extraordinary ever came up, we'd obviously have to consider a transfer from a different fund. But it wouldn't be an account that I would want to overfund because it would really just be kind of like a placeholder.
Yep.
And it would be taking money from somewhere else in the budget that we probably need to expend. So I'm very comfortable.
Any other questions on legal services?
Do we right now have pending litigation?
No, we just have the one contract open with the custodians that we're negotiating. But we actually do most of that in-house. We just consult with the attorney at the end of the process for the drafting of the MOA. But other than that, we just have our ongoing.
That's contract negotiation, but no litigation.
No, just the regular,
Right.
like, you know, legal questions that'll come up from time to time. But we have no pending litigation, no.
It's a good thing. All right, I'll take a motion.
I move that we approve the budget for item number 1430 through 1435, legal services in the amount of $93,000.
Second.
Susan?
Aye.
Diana?
Aye.
Maria?
Aye.
Aye.
Yep.
All right, next is district-wide MIS. Any questions here?
Yeah, I would love just a little bit more of an understanding of what the note is explaining here around, is this something that needs to be approved, or how does that work?
Which one?
E-service, the note on the
E-service, 18.
MIS.
Oh, so no, so we apply for E-rate funding each year, totally aside from like anything in the local operating budget. And then if we're awarded E-rate funds, basically it pays for a portion of the project. So we won't know if the funds are approved or not, or appropriate or
Approved
not.
by whom? That was
Oh,
my-
it's a it's a governmental agency. Is it through FCC?
Yep, it's a federal, they're called USAC.
Okay,
And yeah, it goes through the FCC, and they get a pretty large pool of money, and then everybody applies nationwide, and then it's kind of, takes about a year, and then we find out how much we're awarded.
got it.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions on this one? All right, take a motion.
Okay, I move that we approve the budget for item number 1450, district-wide MIS, in the amount of $1,728,646.
Second.
All right, Susan? Diana?
Aye.
Maria? Aye. All right, next up, curriculum directors. Any questions on this one? Okay, take a motion.
Okay, I move that we approve the budget for item number 2110, curriculum directors, in the amount of $1,518,744.
Second.
All right, Susan?
Aye.
Diana?
Aye.
Maria?
Aye.
All right, next up, curriculum director, special education. Any questions on this page? Okay, I'll take a motion.
I move that we approve the budget for item number 2110, curriculum directors, special education, in the amount of $1,125,961.
126.
I think it's
Oh,
120.
126, okay.
Yeah, 961.
That was tricky, Dennis.
All right,
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion. We have a second? Oh, you second, okay. All right, sorry. Susan?
Aye.
Diana?
Aye.
Maria?
Aye.
Okay, 4-0. Aye, sorry, 4-0. Now we're getting all confused. 4-0. 4-0. All right, I'm an aye. Okay. Next up is school leadership. Any
Okay.
questions? I just had a question on the accreditation process. I mean, it used to be a one and done. What goes on now that we're
So
sort of in a-
they changed it up a little bit, where it used to be like in every 10-year cycle, there would be the accreditation process you'd go through. They've changed it, so now there's kind of recurring things that happen year to year. So once you get your report, they give you like different things to work on, and each year you actually have to have some staff work on them. You submit like progress monitoring reports almost to NEASC. So this includes on the top side, the stipend for a couple of staff members at the high school who really facilitate a lot of the work with the teachers. We have 2 teachers that receive that stipend. It's split in half. And then down below in the non-personnel side, the accreditation line item for $3,500. That's an actual, kind of like a workshop that the staff go to, Joanna?
Right, they go
What do they
to
call it?
a couple conferences specifically for this every year, Principal Murray, and then he brings different staff people with him to keep up with everything they need.
So during our 10-year cycle, we have to keep.
You have to keep doing like updates, because when they identify different areas you had to improve on or work on, then you have to put a plan together to address it. And you're periodically submitting reports or evidence that you're progressing. And then they review it and they kind of give it its blessing and it keeps going.
So this is a whole new process.
It's a whole new
Yeah,
process,
okay.
yeah. It's not like just the 10-year thing anymore.
which is-
There's a little bit every year.
Even with the 10-year, maybe they had 5 years, they made you check in, but that was it.
Yeah, no, now it's annually.
Okay. All right, any other questions on this page? Okay, we'll take a motion.
I move that we approve the budget for item number 2210, school leadership, in the amount of $3,414,530.
Second.
Susan?
Aye.
Diana?
Aye.
Maria?
Aye.
Aye, 4-0. All right, next is classroom teachers, regular education. Any questions? I know we quote-unquote lost a position, but we didn't really lose a position. But also the shifting, like from FY '25, '26, the shifting the middle school to elementary to middle, can you just explain, like we went from 73 to 71 in elementary?
Sure.
Yeah.
So when we haven't lost any people
Right.
that are currently working for us this year. When we put the budget together, it's a snapshot in time with regard to like who's in what roles. So when we meet with all the schools this year, they're giving us their current K teachers, 1 teachers, grade 2, 3, 4, right up the line. So last year, when we did the snapshot in time, we ended up having 3 fourth grade, two fourth grade classrooms that were we consider bubble classrooms, so we had 5 instead of 4. So those actually rotated up to 5th grade because we needed 2 extra teachers to go to 5th grade. So if you'll see the elementary school went from 73 to 71, it's because 2 fourth grade teachers really kind of went up to middle school. So middle school went from 32 to 34. So that was the offset. And then the other one, I believe, was kindergarten at the time. We had 2 schools that had 5 sections of K, and this year, based on the actual number, because we don't know until the enrollment is done in the spring, we only had 1 that had 5 sections. So we actually had like a floating position this year that was unfilled. So this budget basically reconciles that. It doesn't continue the float going forward. So we this year have 286.4 teachers actually on the books. This is the baseline going forward for next year. So nothing has been lost. This is just the, how it shakes out, moving from 4th grade because they're considered elementary up to 5th grade when they're considered middle.
Okay, great. Any other questions on this page? Okay, we'll take a motion.
I move to approve the budget for item numbers 2300 through 2305, classroom teachers, regular education, in the amount of $27,871,859.
Second.
Susan?
Aye.
Diana?
Aye.
Maria?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, 23 teacher specialists, regular education. Any questions?
I did, so I saw the note about the tutoring line item for part-time instructional staff positions to augment grant funding. Does that essentially mean that this is to fund the part-time roles at the schools that are not eligible for Title I?
Correct.
Okay.
And did we fill all 6 positions this year?
And yes, fortunately, I asked Joanna earlier,
Yeah.
we did, we were able to actually fill them.
Okay, great.
Which is good because a year ago, we were kind of struggling. to
Right, no, I
fill.
know, there's been a.
So we were able to do
Okay,
that.
great, awesome. All right, any other questions? All right, take a motion.
I move to approve the budget for item number 2310, teacher specialists, regular education, in the amount of $2,227,259.
Second.
Susan?
Aye.
Diana?
Aye.
Maria?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, page 24, teacher specialist, special education. Any questions? Just a question, I'm going to ask another question about this later, but, so the CHIPS revolving fund is where we get the offset. Where does that fall in the revolving funds, like under what category on page 93?
507.
507, so that is,
It's within the whole community ed.
okay, so under childcare? Okay,
Under, it's a subset of that.
okay,
And they bring in about 200,000 of revenue.
Okay.
okay. I was trying to find where, I know it's in there, but I just didn't know what category it fell, so it falls under childcare then?
Yep, they have their own account numbers
Okay,
within the 507.
great. And so also in that account would be the preschool and all that, also under childcare would fall into that?
Yes.
Okay,
And extended day.
extended day, right, okay. Great. All right, any other questions on this page? Okay, we'll take a motion.
I move that we approve the budget for item number 2310, teacher specialist, special education, in the amount of $9,404,372.
Second.
Susan?
Aye.
Diana?
Aye.
Maria?
Aye.
Aye. All right, next page, 25, medical therapeutic services. Any questions on this page? Okay, we'll take a motion.
I move that we approve the budget for item number 2320, medical therapeutic services, in the amount of $607,087.
Second.
Okay, Susan?
Aye.
Diana?
Aye.
Maria?
Aye.
Aye, 4-0. Page 26, substitutes. Any questions?
I do. I received some emails actually about this one, and I wanted to follow up a little because I see that there's a day-to-day substitute teacher rate of $125 a day, and then there's a different rate for formerly licensed retired teachers at $150 a day. I absolutely see the benefit of bringing back retired teachers at a rate that recognizes their understanding. I received an inquiry about why Chelmsford does not do what some other districts do and have a slightly higher rate for certified teachers who may not be necessarily retired from the Chelmsford Public Schools, but who might bring in even a current certification and experience in that sense with teaching pedagogy. And I'm curious if teachers with those credentials qualify for that higher rate in the way that we use it.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. I probably got the same email from the inquiry. So we have the little bump up to recognize the retired teachers as kind of an incentive, really recognizing their length of service, their experience working with classrooms, primarily Chelmsford classrooms. If an individual had a certification or current certification for licensing, they wouldn't get that rate if they weren't retired. And again, that could be someone who maybe just got their license, so they really have the license, but they don't have a lot of experience. If someone is licensed, though, and we have a long-term sub position that they're filling, because we require licensure for that, they would actually do the $200 a day, not the $125. So if someone is licensed and wanted to fill a long-term sub situation, then they could actually get the higher rate, the $200. But the $150 is just reserved for, like an incentive for retired teachers. Just again, as way of background, about every other year, we do a salary survey of the greater Merrimack Valley districts to just figure out exactly what they're paying for their day-to-days, their long-term subs, their paraeducator rates, because we want to maintain competitiveness with that. And we made some adjustments, I think it was 2 years ago, to actually kind of bring it up to these rates. And we are very competitive. We're actually now one of the top districts in the area as far as the pay goes for the day-to-day. Others do also recognize the retired rate as slightly higher than the day-to-day rate. So we're relatively consistent with that. It's something we obviously can always look at, and I think if other districts, kind of decided doing something differently to attract individuals, we could potentially do the same. But if someone actually has a license and wants to work, then they're really in a different classification than like a day-to-day. We would love to have them apply for a long-term sub position, and we have long-term sub positions to fill. But the slight differential for just a regular day-to-day unlicensed, but who has a degree, and the retired is really just an incentive to try to get those staff back who, again, have the vast years of experience that have actually retired from us.
Yeah, I can absolutely see the benefit of the higher rate for retired teachers. I can say I do know what a difficult job day-to-day subbing can be for any educator. And I think an educator who brings licensure has, whether they have experience or not, has an advantage over somebody who might have no degree or an associate's degree and no specific background in teaching. So I really would advocate for us to consider a rate that reflects that for some of those folks who may not be necessarily in a position where they could take a long-term sub position, but who might bring some expertise that would be really beneficial in our classrooms. It's always hard to find enough good subs. And I think any way that we can, attract some of the ones who can bring a little bit of extra skill sets, it could eventually be a way for that person to maybe get familiar and eventually take some of those harder to fill long-term sub positions. But I do see the reasoning in paying at a higher rate for someone who brings credentials.
How was that coverage been this year? I mean, I know in the past, coming out of COVID, it was really hard to get subs. Are we?
Yeah, I mean, everything kind of post-COVID is it's a different world.
Right.
We're generally fairly well off when it comes to the teacher subs day-to-day. It really does depend on the day, depending on the activity that's taking place. The teacher subs typically get filled first, and then paraeducator subs would get filled after the teacher subs. So we certainly have vacancies. We have different things in the contract that will pay for other people to kind of slide into roles, so we have that. But the next time, to Diana's point, though, if you like, I mean, the next time we put our survey out to the other districts, I can ask specifically if other districts do that to kind of incentivize licensed people. But we could certainly incorporate that mix. It would be something we'd have to quantify. I don't know how many of our staff even have the license. And what's hard when something like that comes up is we don't require them, if you're just a day-to-day sub, you don't have to tell us that you're licensed, because all we need to really see is your degree. So I don't know if in our sub pool, if we have 2 people that are licensed, or we have 100 people that are licensed, because that would affect the rates that we're obviously paying out. We would have to do a projection. But I'd be curious to see if other districts have that as a differentiating factor. So we can see if that question can be added going forward.
Yeah, I even wonder if an intermediate step might be to have that be a question that is asked at the point of hire of a substitute or somebody being added to our pool, to have that information, even if it didn't immediately translate into anything different from a salary perspective. It might prove to be, if we are in a position where we have a lot of really great people in our pool, it might help us to make decisions sometimes where there would be an advantage to someone with an extra credential to be brought on.
Any other questions on substitutes? Okay, we'll take a motion.
I move that we approve the budget for item number 2325, substitutes, in the amount of $811,000.
Second.
Okay, Susan,
Aye.
Diana,
Aye.
Maria?
Aye.
4-0. All right, next page, 27, paraprofessionals. Any questions on this page? Okay, we'll take a motion.
I move that we approve the budget for item number 2330, paraprofessionals, in the amount of $5,128,621.
Second.
Susan,
Aye.
Diana,
Aye.
Maria?
Aye.
Aye. All right, next up, Library Media Center. Questions?
I do have a question. To my understanding, there is am I correct in saying that there's an unfilled role at the for a librarian at the middle school level that's shared between the 2 middle schools?
Not at the present time. It was. We had an individual that splits between McCarthy and Parker as a librarian. We'd hired a new one for September. Right around the holidays, I don't remember the exact timing of it, but somewhere between, Christmas and New Year's, the individual resigned to go take a position in a different district. So we had an opening for a while. We did have a difficult time trying to fill the position. We'd advertised a couple of different ways, both part-time, full-time. We had an individual who we actually offered the position to that ultimately ended up declining, so that was a little bit of a stall. But we ended up having one of our internal library assistants be able to get the waiver to be able to get the license. So they're in the position now, full-time through the end of the school year in June. And then we'll be looking to probably advertise to hire a full-time person for the following school year. But we do have the 3 librarians on staff right now. I don't know the exact timing of it all. It was somewhere around the new year. But we are fully staffed right now. We have the 3 librarians.
Okay. And I see that there's no shift in terms of the way that the personnel are deployed here, so I'm assuming that's reflected.
Well, yeah, because the hope is to have the 3, the people.
Right.
Who's in the position is kind of irrelevant to this. But no, there's the 3 full-time licensed librarians.
And which schools are they at, the 3?
So there's a full-time at the high school. There always has been. And then we used to have one at McCarthy and one at Parker.
Right.
But the library program is predominantly for grades 5 and 6. So we actually need like more than one at Parker. So the person is at, that's why we have the swing person. They're at Parker for the first 2 periods of the day, and then they're at McCarthy for the other 3.
And there's one who's just at Parker.
Yeah, there's a full-time at Parker, and then kind of like a 1.5 if you think about it,
So
because
the person
they
at the
split.
hire is the 3rd. and
Yeah,
they
the
have
person that we
to
had to
travel.
rehire does traveling.
Okay.
Yeah, they go between the schools.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions on the library?
I just as a point of clarification, the library clerk's circulation, is that the elementary?
No, so the librarians, the 3 licensed full-time librarians, that's the top line. The library assistants, the 4, is one at each elementary school.
Okay.
Those don't require licensure. Then there were 2 library clerks for circulation at the high school. Ironically, it's one of the 2 library clerks at the high school who was able to get their waiver. So that's the individual who's filling the role. So now we're trying to backfill the circulation job at the high school, but that's a little bit easier to fill as opposed to the librarian position. And then the tech assistants are at each of the elementary schools. And then there is one at, I believe, Parker and one at McCarthy. That's where the 6 come from.
Yeah, okay, so that was gonna be my follow-up question, which was the difference between a librarian and a library assistant, to some extent, comes down to the certification required.
Yep, so the librarians actually have the regular DESE required licensure, and the library assistants don't require the licensure.
Okay, thank you.
They may actually have it, but the position just doesn't require it.
Take a motion.
Yes, I move to approve the budget for item number 2340, Library Media Services, in the amount of $912,617.
Second.
Susan,
Aye.
Diana,
Aye.
Maria?
Aye.
Aye. All right, next up, page 29, professional development. Any questions on this page? All right, we'll take a motion.
I move that we approve the budget for item number 2357, Professional Development, in the amount of $220,727.
Second.
Susan,
Aye.
Diana,
Aye.
Maria? Aye. Aye. Great, 4-0. Next up is textbooks and instructional materials. Any questions?
Yeah, so I'm confirming something I believe I know, which is that the piloted literacy curriculum that we've been talking about over the last couple of meetings is not reflected on here because that would be a one-time expenditure and it would probably fall next year. Is that correct?
Correct, yeah, so we're not actually budgeting for that. Typically, the adoption phase, bless you, the companies would be given the materials at no cost to us
Right.
to be able to actually pilot. But then when we make the selection next winter,
It's
we
important.
would allocate one-time funding to make the purchase. So that would actually come next spring.
Okay.
Okay. So,
Oh, go ahead.
go ahead. It's okay.
My sort of follow-up on that is, as we explore the potential gaps in our existing literacy curriculum, are there any materials or budget allocations needed for lack of a better word, remediation at the upper grades for students who are struggling with reading?
I don't see that now outside of the budget need that we have. I mean, I think we honestly have sufficient resources in place to cover us between now and whatever the adoption is, both materials and staffing. In addition to this, if we ever needed something, we do have the one-time funding available that we could always look at, but there's been nothing identified that's necessary at this point.
Maria, you had a question?
Well, it's okay, it's kind of in line with that, because I think what we're going to do is probably also look at the budget for the professional development and so on in line with the new literacy curriculum that we may adopt and so on. So that's for next year?
Yeah, that would be for next year. And then the other thing is too, at times there are like targeted grants that we would receive from DESE. Linda and her staff also work with like the Title I grants through, Title, 5, they're all different ones, but there are PD-specific grants as well that aren't included in your base budget. They're included in the grant section on the back. But oftentimes, those grants specifically will support the professional development for different initiatives that we're rolling out. So that can be, that is part of the budget as well.
That's great.
The curriculum that we purchase comes with professional development. So that price that we're paying for that curriculum is
We'll include it.
actually built in professional development from the company. They have to give us professional development.
Okay, thank you for clarifying
I
that.
won't buy it.
Anything else on this before? Okay, all right, take a motion.
I move that we approve the budget for item number 2410 through 2415, textbooks and instructional materials in the amount of $494,550.
Second.
Susan?
Aye.
Diana?
Aye.
Maria?
Aye.
Aye, 4-0. All right, next page is instructional equipment. Any questions on this page?
This includes we do that as a one-time purchase, the materials we give the students?
That's a one-time purchase.
Okay.
All right, other questions? All right, take a motion.
Okay, I move that we approve the budget for item number 2420, instructional equipment in the amount of $188,200.
Second.
Okay, Susan? Diana?
Aye.
Maria?
Aye.
Aye, 4-0. All right, next page is general supplies. Any questions?
I do, this is related to the note about the increase of the industrial arts costs. Is that something that we anticipate being a one-year bump because of some kind of new and specific needs to get that online, so to speak? Or is that something we anticipate being at that higher cost for the foreseeable future?
I believe for the foreseeable future, but do you want to cover that one?
Sure. We got the capital skills grant from the state, about $149,000. And there is some very nice equipment that came with that for this, for these classes. So Marilyn did write, Dr. Sweeney wrote about it when she submitted her budget. And, for this year, it'll be a bump up. And I didn't ask her about 2028, but I could see it continuing based on how it goes with this first year with the new equipment.
There's almost like other curriculums like this, consumables, materials now
Right.
that you have to use. So I see that being on the higher end, closer to what we're budgeting this year, as opposed to dipping back down to pre.
And that is not covered by the grant itself. These are consumables that go beyond the actual grant.
Correct. Yeah, the grant was very like equipment specific, but we need to purchase the product to be used with the equipment.
And what courses do we offer under industrial arts? I know there's a wood shop, but is that the only course under industrial arts? Is there other things?
No, I mean, some of the Project Lead the Way pieces go into that. We also have our architect courses that go into this, so that kind of all falls under industrial arts, depending on which course they're taking.
Okay, so there's several
Isn't that
different
CAD
courses.
drawing too and stuff?
Yeah, we do have CAD software, but that's in the architect classes.
Right.
So, yeah, there's a lot of stuff that goes into those courses. Those are the ones that are all downstairs in the science wing.
Sounds like engineering, too.
Say again?
Sounds like some engineering as well, CAD.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, great. All right, any other questions on this page? All right, take a motion.
I move that we approve the budget for item number 2430, general supplies in the amount of $650,232.
Second.
Okay, Susan?
Aye.
Diana?
Aye.
Maria?
Aye.
Aye. All right, next page, other instructional services, special education. Any questions on this? All right, we'll take a motion.
I move that we approve the budget for item number 2440, other instructional services, special education, in the amount of $215,000.
Second.
Okay. All right, Susan?
Aye.
Diana?
Aye.
Maria?
Aye.
Aye, 4-0. All right, next up, classroom instructional technology and software. Any questions?
Yeah, I'm curious why the fiscal year 2027 is so much higher in terms of the laptop lease.
Good, it's an additional lease, but go ahead.
Yep, because there's an additional lease, and remember, we had funds during COVID, and we bought a bunch of the computers then, so we didn't need to lease them. But now it's several years out, so Bill is, eventually, there should always be 4 leases. But we were at 2 for a pretty long time. Then we went to 3, and then we'll go to 4.
So every year we buy a new set of computers for like 5th and 9th
for the
grade.
rising fifth.
So for the 4 years, like the first year we did it, we had 1 lease in place. The second year we did it, we had basically 2 leases in place. And then we would have gone to 3 and 4. But when, again, we used some COVID money, we used some ESSER money, so we didn't have to kind of tag the local budget for a couple of lease years. But now that we're beyond that, we do have to go back to the local budget, but we're utilizing school choice funds to pay for the multiple leases.
That makes sense. I'm curious how, so I see there's a school choice funds offset that obviously matches. That also goes up. Does that mean that we're going to be taking more school choice students into Chelmsford?
No, so we always typically target around 50
Right.
students, so we wouldn't be taking more in, but we've built up a very healthy balance in the school choice fund. It's at the back of the book. And we basically have taken the stance that we wanted to have the computer leases be net neutral to the budget, so that's why the number actually matches the lease cost. But we're still, and Joanna, can you give me we're in excess of $2 million in that account. And when we had actually done this, we had that in mind.
Right, we expect to be at 2.6 million at the end of this year.
Okay.
Well, you're on that page. Can I just ask a question that just kind of related, not related? What's the difference between school choice and out-of-town tuition reimbursement, which is 2 lines up? Because when I first went to look, I saw that and thought that was school choice. And I'm like, wait, no, that doesn't make sense, so.
So school choice is the $5,000 per student incrementally that we get when we bring in the school choice student, plus any additional special ed costs if those students have it. And then out-of-town tuition is if one of our teachers who does not live in Chelmsford would like their student to come to Chelmsford, which is in the contract, they can pay a tuition. It's about $8,000 a year. It's half of the per pupil. And they pay that tuition for their student to come. And we've had, like right now, I think we have 3 or 4, but this revenue has just been accumulating. We really haven't assigned any costs against that revolving fund.
Okay. Right, just wanted to clarify.
And at the beginning of every year, we lease a computer for each student, right?
For the two new groups. Right?
Okay,
So, because the
yes.
kids keep the computer for 4
Yep.
years. So when you go into 5th grade,
Yep.
we're buying a computer for the kids, but we're spreading the payment out over 4 years.
Oh, got it.
When
Okay.
students go to the high school in 9th
Yep.
grade, they're getting a new computer as well.
Yep.
And we do a lease, and we pay for those computers over 4 years.
Okay,
So again, now you've got like multiple groups going through, so we have multiple leases that we're managing.
Yep.
And we're tagging it or assigning it all to the
Mm-hmm.
school choice revolving fund.
okay, sounds good.
So this is is this 4 leases now?
I think so.
Yeah.
I'd have to look at the, I have.
It's
the
at least 3 of the
leases in
4.
front, Right.
But that was the need for the increase on that one.
All right, any other
Diana, does that
questions?
answer your question?
Yes.
Any other questions on this page?
Okay. I move,
Yep.
I move that we approve the budget for item numbers 2451 through 2455, classroom instructional technology and software, in the amount of $871,000.
Second.
Susan?
Aye.
Diana?
Aye.
Maria?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, next up, guidance and psychological services. I had a question just on the second item. It says guidance counselor stipend, extended year CHS. Does that also include, I think we moved McCarthy to also have an extended year? Does that also include those people extra?
Yes.
Okay,
There's three
yeah,
at the middle school and 3 days at the middle school and 4 days at the high school.
okay.
What I'll do, and I just didn't pick up on this, that's why the amount increased from the 21.6 to the 26. I'll just change the header on that. It'll just be extended year. I'll take CHS out because it's CHS and McCarthy.
Right.
When we negotiated that in the contract.
Yes.
That the guidance counselors at McCarthy now come in for the 3 days. So I'll just change the header so it's clearer. It covers
Okay.
both.
Okay, great. Any other questions on this page? Okay,
I move that we approve the budget for item numbers 2710 through 2800, guidance and psychological services, in the amount of $3,375,437 with the language as noted by Dr. Lang.
Second.
okay. Susan?
Aye.
Diana?
Aye.
Maria?
Aye.
Aye. Good motion. All right, next page is medical and health services. Any questions on this one?
I guess this is more of a parking lot question, but I would love to know, I see the note about the increased needs of students and families being reflected in a higher allocation of budget for contracted services around Care Solace and AED support. And I would love in a future meeting to have some statistics about the different services being offered for students with kind of, tier 3 social emotional needs and family crisis and things like that. Just have a better sense on the rising needs in our community.
Yeah, happy to. When Shannon Bischoff comes to do her update for the committee, she usually brings statistics on that, but I'll make sure she incorporates that into the presentation.
Yeah, that sounds great. Thank you.
All right, any other questions on this page? Okay, we'll take a motion.
I move that we approve the budget for item number 3200, medical and health services, in the amount of $1,054,243.
Second.
Susan?
Aye.
Diana?
Aye.
Maria?
Aye.
Aye, 4-0. All right, next up is transportation. Any questions?
I just wanted to make sure I'm understanding it. So this is kind of a clarification question. The special education transportation line item, does this include the students attending Valley Collaborative? And in those cases, I know that we attempt to share transportation costs. Is that something that we do on a routine basis? Because we obviously know the neighboring districts send their students to Valley?
Not only Valley, but really any special ed school that we're sending kids to, that like a local school or a school even like on the way might be able to do cost sharing. We definitely try to. So the special ed transportation is really twofold. We have a contract that covers just like the in-district special ed transportation. Those would only be like Chelmsford kids on either minibuses or little 7D vans that just go to Chelmsford schools. But really any out-of-district, and we would consider Valley an out-of-district, we actually have a contract. It's a joint contract with Billerica and Tewksbury. So like our 3 districts are kind of pooling students that might be going to different places, but it goes even beyond Valley. So we do try, whenever we possibly can, to cost share and to put multiple students on a vehicle that's going to the same out-of-district school. And then the bus company actually just splits the bill. And it's because it's a per vehicle, per day rate.
Right.
They say if it's 2 kids, one's ours and one's Billerica's, we get a bill for half, Billerica gets a bill for half. So we do try to do that. I think I mentioned one of the complicating factors this year, and part of the reason for the increase is we're still working to obviously try to control those costs and find those economies wherever we can. We did have a significant number of students on vehicle runs with Lowell previously, and Lowell changed special ed providers this past year. So we're still kind of catching up to see if there's opportunity to be able to still do some shared runs with their students, whether they're on our vendor or we go to their vendor. That's all kind of in play. But it really covers both in-district sped and out-of-district sped, but we try to find those economies whenever we possibly can.
Yeah, it just struck me that Valley Collaborative would be the easier one, I would think, to find partner districts because of the fact that we know that they feed
Right.
into there.
Well, and I mean, for us too, we're kind of fortunate in a sense that we have several students going to Valley. So at least we have multiple of our own kids on the vehicles. It's not just like one student from Chelmsford driving to Valley. That would be quite costly.
And where are we in what our contracts with both regular ed and special ed? Are we towards the end, but at the beginning? Yeah.
So for the big buses,
Yeah.
we are in year 4.
Okay.
And so we have the opportunity to extend for one more year into year 5. And then for out of district that Dr. Lang just described, we are in year 3 right now. So we have an opportunity to extend 1 year for year 4, and then we'll have an opportunity to extend 1 year for year 5.
So these numbers are what the extended year would come in at.
Right, we know what the per vehicle rates are. What we don't know is, and we know the big buses is easy, right? But we don't know how many vehicles we'll need for our special ed students.
Because that population can fluctuate a little bit, even like what school they're at and things like that. Like, we know the kids we have now, but if other kids come into the district or leave the district, that's when some of those runs can get shaken up.
And are we still, when homeless transportation is still very uncertain still? I know it was.
And it's thankfully, this year has been lower than prior years. It's also February, so you never know, but,
I knew it was an issue last year, so.
yep, we're not, this year, at this time this year, our cost is lower than at this time last year.
Right. Any other questions on transportation? Okay, we'll take a motion.
I move that we approve the budget for item number 3300, transportation, in the amount of $5,691,534.
Second.
Susan?
Aye.
Diana?
Aye.
Maria?
Aye.
Aye. 4-0. All right, next, food services. Any questions? I see that they are gonna put the funding into the state budget again for free lunches. Is that true?
For next
For
year?
next year?
So I never say yes to that
Okay.
until I see the final governor budget.
Yeah.
Other districts are a little more optimistic, but
Yeah.
I just want to see that final budget, but I think it is in both versions. We'll see.
Okay. What would that do if they didn't have it? Would that do this budget here, this?
It wouldn't do anything to this budget.
Okay.
What it would do is families would have to go back to free, reduced, and paid prices. And what would likely happen is our participation would decrease. And then, in theory, then our costs would decrease. And the majority of our costs for that are in the revolving fund.
Hopefully none of that happens. I'm just
Right.
Yeah.
playing out the scenarios.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, any other questions on this one? Okay, I'll take a motion.
I move that we approve the budget for item number 3400, food services, in the amount of $25,000.
Second.
Okay, Susan, Diana,
Aye.
Maria?
Aye.
Aye, 4-0. All right, next up, page 39, athletic department. Any questions on this one?
Are we raising rates as an offset to the raising of the game official and police detail rates? I just see that it's offset by gate receipts, right? So I just didn't know, is it going to become more expensive to go to a game? Is that?
No, we're not changing any, I don't know if I'm understanding the question correctly. We're not changing any of the proposed, like, student user fees or like the ticket prices.
Okay, yeah, no, I just saw that there's a reflected increase on the MIAA rates, so I didn't, and I saw that, is offset by a revolving fund, so.
Oh, it is offset by a revolving fund, but you'll also see, like, on the revolving fund as well, athletic participation is actually, it varies, but it's been trending upward. So we're taking in more user fees, so we're able to then offset more costs to the budget.
Got it.
Because when we negotiate a contract, it also increase the coaches' stipends as well?
They get the COLA.
Yeah, okay.
Right, so like each of the grids might get like a 3% COLA added, so those rates do go up for the coaches' salaries, or the stipends, I'm sorry.
Right, okay. Right, other questions on this page? Okay, we'll take a motion.
I move that we approve the budget for item number 3510, Athletic Department, in the amount of $935,492.
Second.
Susan?
Aye.
Diana?
Aye.
Maria?
Aye.
Aye, 5-0. Next, other student activities. Questions? My question is just a night school. Is it still a viable program? I mean, I know it used to be a fairly large program. Is it still?
It's not a huge program, but it has its purpose, and we want to make sure we give everybody an opportunity to get a high school diploma, so.
Just that the line item's only 2,500, that's why I'm asking this.
Yeah, it's not huge, but it's
No,
enough.
it's a stipend, it's basically a stipend for a teacher at the high school who, like, after
just
hours,
one?
one teacher,
Okay.
who, almost more of like a case manager type thing.
Okay.
They check in with the students, make sure that they're doing their work, trying to get to the point of being able to earn their credits to graduate. So it's not a large number of students.
Right.
But for the handful of students that need it to be able to graduate, it's helpful. And for us, it's only one staff member who's basically stipended to help coach the kids to get to the point where they can graduate.
I just remember, it used to be a more robust program, I guess, at one point, so, okay.
Right.
All right, any other questions on this page? Okay, we'll take a motion.
I move that we approve the budget for item number 3520, other student activities, in the amount of $199,440.
Second.
Okay, Susan?
Aye.
Diana?
Aye.
Maria?
Aye.
Aye. 4-0. All right, next page, school security. Any questions here?
Can you just remind me how those 5 supervisors of students are allocated among the schools?
Sure. So they're full-time positions. They work school year. We have 2 individuals at the high school, 2 individuals at McCarthy for 7-8, and then 1 individual at Parker for 5-6.
I know that this year reflected an increase in that role. There's 2 at McCarthy, and there used to be 1.
It was 1 at each middle school.
Have we heard that it has made a positive difference to have the 2 supervisors?
Significantly. Yeah, it's been a welcomed addition at the school. It's honestly gone over very well. And they were able to trade off some staff, some
Right.
positions last year for it to work. But by all accounts, the teaching staff I've talked to, the administrative staff I've talked to, definitely see it as making a world of difference.
Great.
So, yeah, that's been very, very positive.
All right, any other questions on this one?
I move we approve the budget for item number 3600, school security, in the amount of $311,626.
Second.
Susan? Diana?
Aye.
Maria?
Aye.
Aye. 4-0. All right, next up, custodial services. Questions here? How are we doing with the negotiations on that end? Custodians?
So 2 parts. So on the custodians, we actually had our introductory session a couple weeks back, and we're going to be meeting on March 4th. It's a very special day. We're going to meet on March 4th to continue the.
His birthday.
Yes.
It's my birthday. So we're going to continue the negotiations that day. Very similar to what we've done with the other bargaining units. We have a set aside back on page 22 we do a cost of living adjustment, so we've set aside funds for that negotiation, and then once we negotiate, we'll do a transfer. But, yeah, again, I think that'll go well. It's traditionally been a very good group to bargain with, so we have that coming. And then, secondly, the contract. We have a contract with a company that comes in to do the nighttime cleaning. Joanna, are we going into year 2?
We're in year 1.
Right, so we'll be going into year 2 on that contract. So we have a contract in place, which is great.
Great. Any other questions on this one?
So we've allocated under this item for any potential increase?
No, so the potential increase is carried on page 22.
Okay,
We have a line item called
yeah.
salary reserve for COLA. And that's what we do for like the teachers and the administrators. So we're carrying a number there consistent with the other settlements.
Thank
So
you.
that we can best track it.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, we'll take a motion.
I move that we approve the budget for item numbers 4110 through 4230, custodial services, in the amount of $2,231,475.
Second.
Hey, Susan.
Aye.
Diana.
Aye.
Maria.
Aye.
Aye, 4-0. Getting there. Okay, next up, heating and building and utility services. Any questions here? What do we do for just a general increase? What do we guess for? 5%, 8%,
I think you did 3.
3%?
I think we did 3.
Okay, and that seems to,
Yeah, and we're going to see how this year obviously comes in, because we do take a look at like actuals going into it, and that was a big bump up for this year. I am curious to see what's going to happen this summer. We've got a couple of projects that could affect electricity, and because we get credits for all the solar panels we have, but the solar panels are going to come down from the South Row roof when we do the South Row roof over, so we're not going to be getting solar credits there. Also, McCarthy roof, the solar is on the roof there, and that roof is being done this summer, so we're going to lose the summer season of solar credits at that project. So it wouldn't be something that I'd want to cut like too tight. I'd rather have a little bit of wiggle room on that. But once we get those roofs done, the solar backup, we can kind of see how we're trending on that. That could potentially be an area, maybe if, we could realize a little savings for maybe 28 or 29. But for this year, I think we'd be safe to just do the 3% increase to make sure we're not cutting it too close. The other thing is usage is also a factor, right? So this has been an incredibly cold winter. So it was like the electricity in the modular classrooms and the natural gas we have to watch as well. So it's been cold.
The solar panels have been covered with snow a lot this winter too.
Thank you.
Which I've noticed at my house.
Yeah, you can't get the sun into them.
Good point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
all right, any other questions on utilities? Okay, we'll take a motion.
I move that we approve the budget for item numbers 4120 through 4130, heating of buildings and utility services, in the amount of $1,559,000.
Second.
Susan.
Aye.
Diana. Maria. Aye. All right, employee separation costs. Any questions?
No.
Is the plan to prepay if we can? This? Okay.
There's 8 retiring. We'll have to see what they select for, if they want their incentive in July or January.
Okay.
And for those who select July, we could bring forward a recommendation to pay it in June.
That's been helpful to just give us a little bit of a cushion going into next year as well.
The retirees spread out, or is it like across the grade levels? Are they more concentrated at the upper levels? Do we even know?
No, we have 2 teachers at the high school, a business teacher and a music teacher. At McCarthy Middle School, we have 3 teachers. We have 2 social studies teachers and a music teacher. Where's technology?
McCarthy.
Oh, maybe it's technology then instead of music. Why do you read it? You just tell us. I thought I was doing good, but
Kindergarten teacher at the Byam, 3 teachers at McCarthy, as Dr. Lang said, technology and social studies. 1 at Parker, 1 at Center, 1 at the high school, business teacher, and another music teacher at Parker.
So kind of spread out, right?
Spread out,
Yeah.
not a ton, but spread out a little bit.
Sorry, I had them alphabetical, not by school.
That's okay. You were much better than his list, so.
That's hurtful.
All right, other questions on this page? All right, we'll take a motion.
I move that we approve the budget for item number 5150, employee separation costs, in the amount of $125,511.
Second.
Okay, Susan? Diana? Maria?
Aye.
Aye, 4-0. All right, do we have to vote on this one, or we just let it pass?
Oh, my gosh, it's zero.
You don't, and this is just in the budget because it's carrying the actuals from '24 and '25. If you recall, during COVID, we ended up voting to pay out of some reserve funding we had, the cost for the turf field, the lease, and the interest payments. So we obviously haven't been doing that in '26 and '27, but we still have the actuals on this page. So you don't have to take any action, there's no vote, but it's just still part of our budget to reflect the payments.
Okay.
Anybody have questions on this? Okay. All right, moving on to tuitions. Any questions here? And our numbers are down a little, you said, for next year?
Yeah, so again, this is one of the areas that kind of helped us with the solving or getting to a level service budget, because we originally anticipating needing about $3.5 million to be level service, and obviously we're coming in at 2.5. We had a couple of different things go in our favor, which don't typically, but we actually have a decline in out-of-district tuition at this point in time. We have a couple of very expensive residential out-of-district placements where the students are aging out either later this spring or over the summer. So we're not going to have to account for those tuitions for next year, so that was helpful. And then we're actually getting a little bit more in circuit breaker reimbursement, so that was helpful. And then thirdly, we're going to be able to allocate $300,000 again, which I think should be conservative, if anything, based on the way Valley is projecting the revenue for next year. So that's another kind of revenue offset from there. So collectively, that really helped us kind of bridge the gap to get to only needing the $2.5 million for the level service budget. Isn't always going to happen, but we're fortunate this year that it did. The only thing, obviously, like Joanna and I will think about is if our tuition for fiscal '27 is lower, then when we do a circuit breaker claim, it's going to be a lower tuition. So in '28, that could affect our circuit breaker reimbursement. So it's all kind of cyclical, but for fiscal '27, it's working in our favor.
Yeah, can you hold over like 1 year, is it?
Yeah, you can hold over 1 year's allocation, which is the 3.79. So we're basically carrying the max over.
Okay.
So we'll have a little bit of play, if we need to a year from now. But, at least for fiscal '27, it's a good news story.
I always, just a comment here on the Valley Collaborative tuition credit and refund. I always think it's wonderful that our special ed students who go through this Valley Collaborative actually give back to the district again. This is what's happening here, which is wonderful.
All right, any other questions? All right, take a motion.
I move that we approve the budget for item number 9,300 tuitions in the amount of $2,854,075.
Second.
Susan?
Aye.
Diana?
Aye.
Maria?
Aye.
Aye. Which brings us to page 47, which is the final total of the budget.
All
Any
right.
final questions? All right,
No.
so we'll take a motion on the final.
Here we go. I move that we approve the overall FY 2027 budget in the amount of $78,150,000.
Second.
Okay, all right, any final questions? All right, Susan?
Aye.
Diana?
Aye.
Maria?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, all right,
Great.
thank you all.
Yeah, and just for the folks watching at home, that's a $2.5 million increase over fiscal '26, or 3.2%. We'll present that Thursday evening to the Finance Committee, and then ultimately, that will go forward to town meeting in April. I'll incorporate all of the final votes and numbers in the revised budget book. We'll get that printed, we'll get that out to the town meeting reps, and we'll get a copy to you, and we'll get it copied up on the website a little bit later on this week. But thank you.
Great.
If anything comes up question-wise between now and, April, certainly we can continue talking. This is, again, our best guess at what's going to happen for the next fiscal year. It's aligned with our goals, which I think are great, and I think it's a good spending plan for us.
Okay. All right, next up, we have a personnel report.
You do. So you have the personnel report for the month of January that just details a few new hires to the district, as well as a couple of resignations. No retirements and no assignment changes in January.
Okay. Any questions on this? I assume most of the para-educator hires are interim just because of the time of the year, I assume? Or just
No, paras are required to be hired permanently to either have an associate's degree or to pass the para protest. So if they don't, we can hire them on an interim basis while they work toward it. So if they work toward one of those two things between now and June, they could be hired permanently for the following year. But if they aren't, then we have to try to hire highly qualified paras first. If we can't, then we can look to like interims.
Okay.
And it's to help support people to either finish their associate's degree or pass the para protest. And it all just ties to a highly qualified status to be able to get the federal grants.
Gotcha. Okay. All right, anybody else have questions on personnel? Okay, all right, last thing then is we have a field trip. I
You
believe.
have one field trip for the Chelmsford High School students who may qualify for the DECA State Conference. This is March 12th to 14th, and it's in Boston, Mass., so it's in-state, but it is overnight. So would request your approval for the DECA kids who qualify to go to the state conference.
All right, take a motion.
I move that we approve the Chelmsford High School qualifying DECA students DECA State Conference, March 12th through the 14th of 2026 in Boston, Mass.
Second.
This is much better. All those in favor?
Aye.
Oh, much better that way.
Oh,
4-0. All right, does anybody have a liaison reports they want to share?
I do. I can jump in. On the 12th, I attended the Parker and McCarthy joint PTO meeting. As always, a lot of very wonderful things happening at both schools. At Parker, there was a Super Bowl food drive that was super successful. Pride Week at the school went well and culminated in a huge ultimate volleyball game before break. There's an ongoing calendar raffle, which ends at the end of the month, and they were excited to report a $2,000 profit on winter socials. Kids are thirsty for opportunities to have fun together and be social at that age, and so their socials went well. There's going to be another 5th and then 6th grade social this spring. At McCarthy, they were proud to have hit the 1 million mark for Project 300, which has been going on for a long time. The pantry was extremely grateful, as you can imagine. Of course, we were all excited to discuss the successful musical, Mean Girls. And there have been a lot of other activities. The Blacklight Dance is coming up, which is always a big event. Both schools are receiving applications. I think so far there have been 8 at Parker and 9 at McCarthy for scholarships. So those are healthy, and those are due April 10th, so there's still plenty of time for folks to get those in. The schools are really beginning the call for parents to step forward and consider joining both PTOs as we look ahead to next year. There are several parents kind of aging up with their kids, particularly I've been hearing it from McCarthy. So I would say they are always eager if there are parents and family members interested in getting involved.
Great. Susan, you have anything?
I do. On February 4th, I attended the Harrington School PTO meeting. Some of the things they've done have since happened, but upcoming, they're doing a calendar raffle as a fundraiser. So students will be bringing the packets home about those this week. And something that sounds very interesting, they're having a week-long artist in residence coming soon. His name is Bren Bataclan, and he is going to be working with the students to create art that he will then use to create a big mural on the wall in the school, in one of the hallways. It's going to be a kindness and inclusion mural. I looked him up on the internet. It looks pretty cool, the work he does. So that is Harrington, and then I went to CHIPS PTO on February 9th. They are doing a nice job keeping money in their balance so that they can fund their very many enrichment programs they do for the kids. They do so many, it's hard for me to keep track. They've got Sugar Bug in February. They have Big Joe Storyteller coming up, and then Mr. Riga's Music Academy comes in March. In April, they have Goldfish Swim School coming up, and more things coming later. Once again this year, they thank Dr. Lang for the money that he has given them to help offset costs for their teacher appreciation days. They always express appreciation for that.
It's the school committee as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, they thank all of
Remind them
us.
of that, yeah.
CHIPS always is great to thank all of us for doing that. When they do their teacher appreciations, it's for the CHIPS staff, and they also often include the Lions, is it Lions Den over there? Lions Pride, which one is which? Lions Pride, that's over there in that building. And they include them in that because Lions Pride is very kind to help share their photo money with them. So they've got some reciprocity going on and work well together, all having the preschoolers in that building. Square One Art is happening again, and parents will have an opportunity to order their artwork pieces, which will be completed in their classrooms by the end of this week. So after it all goes into the company, the parents will get their order information to buy the many wonderful products you can get through Square One Art for their kids. And I think that's it.
Maria,
I did not have any.
you're lucky.
But just a reminder that the Wellness Fair is coming up at the high school. That's one of my, and that's on March 6th.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. I'm covering hobbies, which I'm very interested in.
I'll be there.
Yep.
All right, I have a couple alumni association met. The day we were meeting, they just closed the application deadline for the scholarships. They had 231 applications, which is great. So now they have to go through them, read them, assign them. So they have some work to do behind that. The ceremony will be in May. Currently, it's scheduled for McCarthy Auditorium. I don't have the date right here, but I'll be able to let you know after the next meeting. They also will talk about the kind of revamp the application process for Hall of Fame. So they're going to start to kind of open that back up again, I believe in March, with the idea of having a ceremony sometime in the fall. Again, in a kind of a revamp where it used to be a very formal type of dinner. They want to do it a little bit more casual, and maybe do something at a football game or something like that. So they kind of looking to try to do things a little bit differently. As mentioned earlier, we had the building committee last Thursday. We approved our usual invoices. We also approved some money to do some cleanup on the site. I'm sure, remember the last time we heard from our project manager about a small contamination that's going to be cleaned up at the site. That should be taken care of by April break. We also reviewed some different options for where the building might be sited on the land, and kind of a consensus of where the best place would be, and some of the footprints of what a building might look there, and they're going to keep working on that. So that's an ongoing thing, which kind of give us a preliminary idea on that. And as mentioned before, as part of the process with MSBA, we have to continue to have this conversation about grade enrollments. That's why we're going to have it on our meeting agendas. We're also going to have the public forum on the 19th, and then moving all the way into April, we'll actually take a formal vote on that. So it's getting there, slow but sure. We're getting closer and closer to finalizing everything, which I think is great. So we'll see. All right, any new items?
I don't know if this is really a new item, but I did want to bring up a topic quickly for discussion. I know many of us, I don't know actually who else has signed up, are going to Day on the Hill.
Yes.
Everybody.
I think everybody.
Yep.
And I was wondering, I have never been. I was wondering if there is interest or how we would go about potentially reaching out to some of the
I'm
legislators?
gonna email them. I'm gonna send them I'm
Yes.
gonna text them over this weekend. I just wanted to make sure everybody who's gonna be going, and I'll make sure.
Yeah, I'm definitely interested in connecting with
yeah.
some of them, so
Well, I'll
if I
definitely
can
contact
support in any way, let me know.
Okay.
So you're all going?
The four of us are going, yes.
Yep.
The four of us are going, yeah, on
That
Monday.
was my exact question, so I no longer have a question.
It's
Is
wonderful.
there anyone outside of our reps that people want to see, or
I don't
just?
know, I was gonna contact Representative Cataldo, Representative Ciario, what's the third one? Oh, Elliott, yeah,
Yep.
Representative Elliott, he's still there.
Yes.
Okay. Anybody
Still in.
else? I
We
mean,
should-
it could-
Our senator, we
I could
should.
ask Senator
Oh, yeah.
Barrett, I could try to
Right.
make contact
Yeah.
with them. Okay, I'll add him to the list.
Yeah, that would be great, thanks.
All right, any other things?
Yep. So as a new item, as we were going through the budget, this is something that's been on my mind for a while. I think it would be important at some point that we review the roles under that library media center, just the roles themselves, and going forward, how they support the curriculum. As we start to see more and more changes in our digital world or non-digital, whatever way we're going. So I think it would be really important to, at some point, go through those.
All right, I'm going to jump on something that Susan said to us. Do you want to speak to that? You sent us an email about the ICE policy and just getting more information on
Oh,
that.
it was in the DESI Commissioner's newsletter that schools should review their policies on what to do if a student's parent is unable to go home. If a student is unable to go home because their parent has been detained by ICE. That was something that the commissioner said that all schools should be reviewing.
I don't know if that's something we want to
So-
add to.
I guess we should be reviewing that.
Yeah, I mean, we obviously have like plans in place at the different schools. It's something the admin team has worked on. Coincidentally, in one of our conversations with the union, I think this is also like a union-type focus also, to be able to support like teachers who may have students in the class who are affected by things. We totally get that. So we're actually going to be participating in an updated workshop on Thursday afternoon of this week with the DA's office and about a bunch of other resources from Mass DESI to kind of get the latest and greatest information, I guess, as to what's been happening nationally and even within Massachusetts. So I'd have more to report out after that. I want you to know that we do have response plans in effect now. However, we'll see what ends up coming up Thursday. Our legal team at the Superintendent's Association has provided different legal updates to us as well about what to be kind of looking for and planning for. So we can incorporate some of that into action. And I can produce something for you at a relatively soon school committee meeting to just let you know like how we're going about dealing with that. We can get that on as a topic.
Sounds good.
Yeah. But it is being worked on. I don't want you to think it's not.
Well, I know we'd had directive from DESI, just
Right.
what to do if they show up at school. So I knew that was something that was already in our policies or within our handbooks, but.
Yeah. And I
Just a
think
new
that
question that came
other
up.
layers about just even just supporting, staff and families, and even if something doesn't happen, that these are discussions that are taking place in homes and communities. So we'll get more info hopefully on Thursday.
I like the idea of the support because there's a lot of fear
Right.
out there as well. And it's good to know how to support people who are experiencing that. Good, thank you.
All right, just quick review of, we meet again next Tuesday. So it's because of the way the vacation fell, so we have this meeting, then we're going to meet again on the 3rd. I had sent out an email, our next meeting after the 3rd is scheduled for the 17th. Then we don't meet again till the 14th of April, just because of how the election falls, and we can't have a meeting on an election day. So that would be a month. So one of the options that Superintendent Lang had presented to me to send out to you is that we could move it to the 24th, which would then kind of split us, in between the 3 weeks. It should be a fairly light, I know, Diana, you might have a conflict. It should be a really, really light agenda if you wanted to Zoom for it. We don't have to do it, I just like to space it out. I know superintendent also has a conflict on that night, so we'd have to be in the able hands of the assistant superintendent on that night if that was the case. So I don't know what people's thoughts are. We want to kind of move to the 24th for that second meeting so that we're not going a month between meetings.
We are meeting on the 31st, but that's a special meeting on AI.
We're doing a workshop on the 31st, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah, I mean, as you all know, that's like the 1 week a year I am unavailable to be here, but I will do I can't promise that I can attend remotely. I will do my best if that is what the group decides. That said, I very likely almost certainly cannot be in person on the 24th.
I know, as soon as I sent the email, like, wait, that date sounds really familiar.
Yeah, we had circulated that for the AI
Okay,
training.
so
It's the same reason I said no to the AI thing that night.
Yeah, yes,
I remember the email, but I'm confused. We have a meeting on the 3rd,
correct.
and then we have a meeting
Scheduled for the 17th.
right now for the 17th.
So
We're
his
talking
proposal is
about
to move that.
moving it,
24th, because,
space things out better, because then it's quite a few more weeks before the next one.
Correct.
Okay, I remember. I'm available either one,
okay,
so.
Maria, your thoughts?
I'm fine with doing it and changing it. Here's my thought. I think it's a good idea to not have almost an entire month
Right.
without having a meeting.
Yep.
I think it's very important for continuity and for touching base on what's going on and so on, that we actually have that in-between meeting.
I agree.
And move it to the 24th. And it's an election year. And I think it's, there's going to be a change while whatever happens. And I think it's important that we touch base during that time.
Right, so we
If we,
okay?
yeah, just for you, if we do move it to the 24th thing, and I just see you feel a little bit better, it is going to be a light agenda. There's not like huge presentations that evening. I think the presentation is our just health and phys ed department, not a lot of like kids or anything like that, just more it's programmatic, department based. And then even like the topics on the agenda are relatively benign. That's usually the night that we do like the school choice vote, things along those lines. So if you did have to participate remotely, of all the meetings to have to participate remotely in, that's not a bad one as far as like content.
Okay, so are we okay with moving it to the 24th?
I'm going to say
Okay,
yes.
Great, okay.
So
Let's
instead of the 17th,
the 24th.
it'll be the 24th.
Do you need a motion?
Do we need a formal vote to move it?
I would, and then I can just
I
update
mean, what's one more
the
motion?
schedule.
Right,
tonight?
let's move on.
Why not? I move that we change the regularly scheduled school committee meeting from the 17th of March to the 24th of March.
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
I'll abstain.
What's the third thing?
I'll abstain.
Abstain. So 3 and 1 abstention.
We're going to thank Diana for putting up for this.
All right, just continuing on with schedule, so then we have that, so we have our meeting on the 3rd, then we have the public forum on the 19th, then we have our next meeting on the 24th, then on the 30th, we have Day in the Hill. That evening, we're supposed to go to the select board meeting
Yeah.
to
Yes.
vote on a Neshoba
Uh-huh.
Tech
And so
representative
that's at Town Hall.
at Town Hall, 6 o'clock, usually at the beginning, it's usually quick. And then on the 31st is our AI workshop at 6?
Well, that's what I was gonna ask, did we say 5 or did we say 6? I met with them today, and none of us.
I think it
could
was
remember.
6.
I think we said 6. I have in my calendar 6.
That's why my question.
Yeah,
was.
I
Okay,
just
6.
couldn't
Okay.
remember, and I
So
said,
6,
let me just double check with the committee.
Okay, so just I want to throw out that that's a lot of, March is a busy month.
Yes,
Many,
it is.
in many ways.
Also negotiations with
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So,
And Dr. Lang's birthday.
in my birthday the next
And
day.
mine too.
Yeah, I was gonna say
And
the-
Joanne?
What's yours?
And
Second.
Joanna.
Second,
When is yours?
4th, 5th,
March?
Joanne?
Yes.
3rd, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah,
2, 3, 4,
And then
5.
mine's right as soon as we start April. Mine's right at the beginning of April.
I'm not an astrology person, but that's a lot of Pisces.
Yes.
Yeah,
We are the
into
fish.
Aries.
All right, I don't see anybody for public comment, so I believe that we are ready to take a motion to adjourn.
I move that we adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.